Welcome to today's NASCAR Cup Series live commentary stream for the Toyota Save Mart 350 from Sonoma Raceway and the final road course race of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series schedule. And here today, Shane Van Gisbergen trying for a redemption tour, winning already the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race yesterday, trying to go for the clean sweep this weekend in the Cup race today, knowing last week had slipped away from him on the streets of San Diego. Got involved in an accident in the middle of stage two when he was definitely of the contenders to win the race. He did not qualify on the pole though here today. In fact, starts in the sixth place position. While front row, it'll be Ty Gibbs, the defending in-season tournament champion, alongside Carson Hocevar for the second straight week on the front row. And for Ty Gibbs, trying to go for back-to-back $1 million bonuses in the in-season tournament challenge that begins here today. The round of 16, or I should say the round of 32 will begin today. 5 races, and we will crown a champion there. You can play along, obviously, on the NASCAR.com website, NASCAR mobile app. Fill out your brackets. My bracket's already filled out. I will show you that before the drop of the green flag. For today's races, we get closer to the start time at about 3:50 p.m. Eastern. As we get started with today's stream, usually we do some NASCAR trivia, so we will do that first for the commentary coverage of the NASCAR Cup Series races every Sunday right here on the channel. So here we go. We're going to do a NASCAR Sonoma quiz this weekend. We did a couple of them during practice and qualifying yesterday for the Cup Series. And we did all-time laps led at Sonoma. We also did all-time winners at Sonoma across the Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series. So today we're going to do top 10 finishers at Sonoma Raceway. So let's get this started. We got 20 minutes on the clock. 300 drivers have had a top 10 at Sonoma. Let's try to name them all. First, we got to start off with the winners. So we'll go in no particular order, but just try to get all the winners here. We got Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, the Busch brothers, Kurt and Kyle, Ricky Rudd, and then Robbie Gordon also would have popped on here with Jeff Gordon, by the way. Well, Pablo Montoya, Casey Kane is a former winner here. Kyle Larson, which this quiz was last updated 2018. So Larson not on here yet. Mart Truex Jr. is going to be on here. Let's see here. Clint Boyer, another former winner. Burton hadn't won here, but I did throw him on the list. And Davey Allison, Rusty Wallace on here a bunch. Terry and Bobby Labonte. Found out Earnhardt won the 95 race here. Dale Sr., that is. Allmendinger not a winner here, but he's got a few top tens. Brad Keselowski on here a couple times. Same for Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez. Not by 2018. Eric Jones is on the list. Ambrose, not a former winner here, but had a lot of great runs. Kyle Petty. Casey Mears. Nemechek not on here. Elliott Sadler's on here. Dale Jarrett. Lake Speed. Harry Gant. Rick Mast. Steve Park. Park's not on here. Jerry Nadeau is going to be on here. Paul Menard on here at all? Yes, he is. Ryan Newman, I'm sure, is on here. Greg Biffle. Carl Edwards. Kenseth had some top tens at least. Mark Martin, another former winner here. Look back at the chat real quick, see what the chat's got. We got 205 of 300 already. Kevin Harvick was the 2017 winner. We learned that yesterday because I did not remember that race too well. Forrest said Ron Fellows. It's 221. Danica Patrick on here at all? No, she's not. Keedy. Carpentier. Scott Wimmer on here at all? No. Sorensen. No JJ Yaley. No David Stremme. McMurray is definitely on here. Jamie McMurray. Stenhouse not on here at all. Neither is Trevor Bayne. David Reagan's not on the list. McDowell's not on here. Rudiman. No. Waltrip. Got a Waltrip. Joe Ruttman. Robert Presley is not on the list. Green's on here. No Sauter. Denny Hamlin. No Bliss. No Quapple. No Gone. It's a lot of 2018 drivers I'm missing still. Thank you. Brian Vickers. Wally Dolan back on here at all? Yes, he is. No Parsons, no Cope. Bobby Hamilton's on here. No Hornaday. No Skinner. No Chad Little. Ted Musgrave's on the list. I got him. Bill Elliott. Bill and Chase Elliott. Alex Bowman. William Byron on here at all? Nope. Chris Buescher? No Buescher. No Priest. No Andy Lally. David Gilliland. Jimmy Spencer. Okay. Schrader. Kenny Schrader's on here. Morgan Shepherd. He's on here. You got 265 of 300. We're cooking. One more from 2018. Reddick. I think that's the only one for the 2010. No, I'm missing a 2015 also. Castle. Sligerman. John Andretti has to be on here 3 times. So got some other former winners. Kulwicki. Alan Kulwicki's not on here. Okay. No Alan Kulwicki. See what else the chat's got. Parker Johnstone. No. Alex LeBeg is a good pick, but he's not on here. I do have Boris Set already. Hoer, yes. He's probably on here. Yep, Irv Hoer on here once, 1990. Not sure who else we're going with. Scott Pruitt. Saw him in the chat. Yep, Scott Pruitt's on here. Christian Fittipaldi. Ricky Craven. 1992 and 93 winner. I missed a 92, 93, and 90. Ernie Irvan was a former winner here. In 92 and 94. Sterling Marlin's on the list a few times. Okay, so that gets us to 280. We're 20 shy. 280 of 300 right now. Um, See, a lot of these are in the 1990s. I'm still missing. Kenny Irwin. He's on here once. It's better than nothing. Listen, 2 from 2005. That's an interesting one. Jack Sprague. All right, chat. Tried Carpentier. I do have Ron Fellows already. I mean, there's obviously going to be some other road ringers in here. Tony Raines. It's a random one. Scott Riggs, I have not named yet. Oh, I was like, maybe 2005 Scott Riggs. Jeremy Mayfield. Okay, there we go. That got 4 more. You see Atwood? No. This 2018 8th. No Regan Smith. Leffler, no. 2018. Dick Trickle on here at all? Nope. I like Tim Richmond. Oh gosh, I don't know. I clicked on the ad on the right side of the screen. It's like, what just happened? Monty. What's the trivia? Top 10 finishers at Sonoma. Anybody who's at a top 10 at Sonoma. Our quiz for the week. We've got just less than 8 minutes to go on the quiz. And then we'll get into the starting lineup and other stuff for today's race before the drop of the green flag. I still have the 1993 winner. Who is somebody from the 90s that won that I have not named yet? It would have been somebody I got on yesterday's quiz when we went through all the winners. Because the only 2 I missed there was Earnhardt in 95 and then Kevin Harvick in 2017. So I did not remember that race too well. I should say the only ones I didn't get for the Cup Series. Dario Franchitti. I did put Dario Franchitti in here already, and he was not one of them. I do have Ryan Newman. I didn't put Eric Alberola yet. He might be the 2018. Okay. He was the 2018 I was missing. Well, that solves that question. I still got a 10th in 2015. A 10th in 2015, 10th in 2005. See, I'm trying to think of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Like, who is in that game? Or NASCAR 06, I guess. John Wood. Nothing. Who is, like, in that video game? I already tried Mike Bliss. Missing any Roush guys? McMurray, Kenseth. I already got Biffle. Edwards. I already have. Mark Martin. I've got. Who won in 1990? I do have Davey Allison and Ricky Rudd already. 1993 winner. Oh, it was Jeff Bodine. That's who that was. That got me 12. Actually, we were at 281 with Alberola. That got me 11 more. Jeff Bodine I was missing. That was a big one. Okay, so now we have all the winners. 5 minutes left. We have 8 names. And some of them could be on here multiple times, obviously. 1989, 8th place. Late 80s, early 90s. I'm missing 2 from 1990 yet, and 2 from 93. There's still one more in 2005. If I'm not mistaken. I've still got a 10th in 2005. Yeah, 292 of 300. I do have Rusty Wallace. Casey Kane's a former winner, so I have him already. Hornish? But I don't think he was. Oh, it was Hornish. He was 2005? No, he wasn't. Oh, he was 2015. I forgot I was missing 2015. Yeah, okay. So I got Hornish. I was gonna say, I was like, oh, he wasn't even in NASCAR until 07. But okay. So now we got 293 of 300. We're 7 to go. 350 left on the clock. 350 remaining on the clock. I do have Byron. Yeah, I've got everybody present day. 2005, I have one I'm missing, then everything else is from the 90s or 80s. So there's got to be some road course. Like, was there any more like IndyCar guys from the 90s that would have maybe ran? I really don't know who else I'm potentially missing. Less than 3 minutes on the clock. They're just giving the command to fire engines for today's race, by the way, so we are still plenty of time here, especially around a road course. Pace lap's going to be a little long for the start. 11 minutes until the drop of the green flag. We'll go through the starting lineup. In-season tournament challenge. And points are scrolling across the top of the screen already, but we'll highlight that throughout today's coverage. 2 minutes left. Can we get any more? Looking at an A. I know, yeah, 293 of 300. I mean, we have about an A score right now. It's pretty solid. Like Skinner? I might have put him already. I really don't remember if I did or not. Um, Hut Strickland. Yeah, I did not put him yet. Hut Strickland's on here one time. 1993, he finished 10th. What about GD McDuffie? Oh, dang it. Johnny Benson? Maybe not in the early 90s. We are missing a 1998. 1 minute. 1 minute left on the clock. I like to think I'm not missing anybody super big name. Kelly Yarborough was not around in 1989. Yeah, I don't even know why Baker was not around anymore. Yeah, I don't know. I see a Rick Wilson. Wilson's on here a few times. Donahue, Hugh. Oh, I don't know how to spell it. Oh, we were 3 left. Rick Wilson gave us 3 more. Bobby Hillen Jr. in 1990. We did not get that. 99%, by the way, out of 82%. It says I have mad Riz. Steve Grisham in 98. Okay, so we didn't get either one. And then Brian Semo in 2005, I would have never gotten. That's a road course ringer. Brian, what car did he drive that day? That's what I want to know. Because he definitely was not in the NASCAR Chase for the Cup video game. I can tell you that much. Wow. Brian Semo. I would have never gotten. So it's nice to know we wouldn't have gotten a perfect score regardless. 99%, 297 of 300. Bobby Hillen Jr., a 5th place in 1990, 1998 10th place Steve Grissom, and Brian Semo in 2005 finished 10th. We would have never gotten a perfect score. Somebody would have pulled Brian Semo out in the chat. I would have considered that you would have definitely Googled that because there would have been no way. There would have been no way. All right. Well, thanks for playing along. Cars are just now rolling off of pit road. We'll go through the starting lineup to kickstart today's Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma. Ty Gibbs, reigning in-season tournament champion, will be on the pole for today's race as he tries to go for the $1 million bonus 2 years in a row. For the second consecutive week, Carson Hocevar going to be starting on the front row, still sitting top 10 in points as well to this juncture of the season. In row number 2 will be Kyle Larson, 2-time Sonoma winner in 2021 and 2023. And then Michael McDowell will line up in the outside of row number 4. Never a winner here, but always a great road course racer and definitely a threat to win today's race. Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen will be in row number 3. SVG, the winner here a season ago. In row number 4 will be Chase Briscoe and AJ Allmendinger. In row number 5 will be Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano. Longtime veterans have never won at Sonoma. Tyler Reddick, Austin Hill will make up row 6. Good qualifying effort for Hill this week. William Byron, Christopher Bell will be in row 7. I believe the reports are Bell is expected to run the entirety of today's race. At least that is a pre-race plan for the driver of the 20 after being substituted out last week. Chris Buescher with Ryan Blaney will line up in row number 3. Great road course racers for Buescher, Blaney to get consistent finishes. Blaney, multi-time stage winner here. And Chris Buescher, a big top 10 threat. He's actually got 3 top 5s at Sonoma in the last 4 starts here. Connor Zilic, a great road course racer, still looking for that first top 10 of the season. Might be the last real shot of being able to do so here today. Chase Elliott will be on the outside of the road. Never a Sonoma winner, but a 7-time road course winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. Ryan Preece with John Hunter Nemechek will line up in row number 10, rounding out the top half of the field. Behind them will be the 2022 winner Daniel Suarez and Alex Bowman in row 11. Row number 12 for Austin Cindric and Zane Smith, 2 Ford Mustangs, and then 2 Toyota Camrys behind them, Riley Herbst and Bubba Wallace. Wallace crashed in qualifying yesterday. He'll be starting at the back. Cole Custer, Josh Berry will line up in row 14. Row 15 for Todd Gillen and Austin Dillon. Ty Dillon, his brother, and Eric Jones will be in row 16 with row 17, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Noah Gregson. And row 18, Brad Keselowski and Cody Ware bringing up the rear of the field. 36 cars on the starting grid today. No chartered entries for this weekend. The in-season NASCAR tournament, which we will follow all of the next 5 weeks in the matchups throughout the course of each race, each stream to see who will win the $1 million bonus, is going to look like this. And obviously you can fill out your bracket online on the NASCAR.com website or mobile app, or I guess it technically would have closed by now. So you can't fill them out anymore, but if you did, we'll follow along in this one. And I'll actually pull up my bracket and show you who I have, and I swear to you, this is not a homer pick. I did research, maybe more so for week 1 at Sonoma because qualifying and practice already happened, but I did look at other statistical performances on mile and half tracks, like with Chicagoland, drafting ovals when we go to Atlanta, North Wilkesboro with the short track or flat track success, and the same kind of goes for Indy as of the last couple of years where we've had 2 next-gen oval races there. So looking at all the statistics, this is what I came up with. First matchup, Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, round of 32. I got Reddick. Cindric versus Brad Keselowski. I've got Austin Cindric this weekend. Daniel Suarez versus Todd Gillen. Give me Daniel Suarez. Carson Hocevar versus Zane Smith. I got Carson Hocevar this week. Chase Briscoe, AJ Allmendinger. I actually went with Briscoe. It's a very tough battle there. But Briscoe did out-qualify, but just a little bit. They're going to be on top of each other the whole race, though, probably. Ty Gibbs and Austin Dillon. I went with Ty Gibbs. He's on the pole. Bubba Wallace, Michael McDowell. Bubba did great last week in San Diego, but I still trust McDowell, especially starting in 4th, and Bubba crashed in qualifying. Didn't do too much for me there. In the final section on the left-hand column, Chase Elliott versus Noah Gregson. Easy pick for me this weekend. I'm going Chase Elliott. Denny Hamlin versus Ty Dillon was actually a tough one because Ty Dillon's outscored Hamlin in race finishes here in the last 3 years, but I went with Denny Hamlin. He's not a good road course racer, but he does start in the top 10. That's got to be worth something. Joey Logano also starts on the top 10. Eric Jones qualified back outside the top 30, so give me Joey Logano. Take the track position on a road course any day. Chris Buescher and Ross Chastain are my next 2 winners. I don't trust Bell with that injury. That's why I went with Chastain. Chastain did qualify top 5. Chris Buescher, I mentioned 3 top 5s here in the last 4 races, so give me Buescher over Nemechek. William Byron, I'm taking over Stenhouse. Easy pick. Ricky Stenhouse, not a good road course racer. Riley Herbst, Kyle Larson. Give me Kyle Larson. Larson, a 2-time Sonoma winner. SVG versus Ryan Preece. I got SVG for the win today, so taking SVG in the matchup. And then Blaney versus Barry. Barry seems to wreck on road courses a lot. Easy pick for me to take Ryan Blaney. In the next round, which would be the round at Chicagoland Speedway, round number 2, Tyler Reddick versus Austin Cindric. The Toyotas have been very good this season, so give me Tyler Reddick. Daniel Suarez versus Carson Hocevar. Hocevar's been faster in the mile and a half tracks. I know Suarez won at the Coke 600, but give me Hocevar. He's more consistent with the fast speed on these style of racetracks. Gibbs versus Briscoe's a tough one. Give me Briscoe. They're very even with both mile and a half finishes and how they've been doing as of late. That's a coin toss, but give me Briscoe. He's had the slight edge on intermediates over Gibbs. Gibbs will finish like a 5th, and Briscoe will be like 3rd. So give me Briscoe. Michael McDowell, Chase Elliott, mile and a half track. Elliott did win 1 already this season at Texas. Far more consistent than the Spire 71, so give me Chase Elliott. And on the right side of the screen, we got Denny Hamlin, Chris Buescher. Hamlin has been a beast on mile and a half tracks this season. Same for Larson versus Byron. Give me Larson. Blaney versus SVG. Easy pick there. I'm taking Blaney with SVG on an oval. He's getting better, but not going to take him over Ryan Blaney, who's 3rd in points. Buescher versus Chastain. Give me Chris Buescher. He's consistently in the top 10 in points for a reason. Going to the next round at Echo Park Speedway at Atlanta, we've got Chase Elliott versus Chase Briscoe. Chase Elliott, 2-time Atlanta winner. Give me Chase. Carson Hocevar versus Tyler Reddick. This was a toss-up, but I went with Hocevar because it seems like Atlanta's been his best of the drafting ovals. He won at Talladega. He was leading late at Daytona. I know Reddick won 2 of those races, Atlanta and Daytona, but Hocevar has had a lot of speed from start to finish of those races. Reddick kind of there up towards the finish. Give me Hocevar. Ryan Blaney, I'm taking, again, the Ford's very strong on the drafting ovals, and Kyle Larson versus Blaney on a drafting oval. It's hard to take a Kyle Larson at that style of track, so give me Blaney. Denny Hamlin versus Chris Buescher. Hamlin just hasn't been as good in the next-gen era on drafting ovals, so give me Chris Buescher. And RFK usually brings fast cars at those style of racetracks. On to North Wilkesboro Speedway. Chase Elliott versus Carson Hocevar. Elliott has been better on short tracks by far this season. Hocevar hasn't had a top 10 on a short track, and Chase Elliott had a win and a couple other top 10s if you count the Clash at Bowman Gray. He won at Martinsville, had a decent run at Bristol. Hocevar, no top 10s. Easy pick for me to take Chase Elliott at North Wilkesboro. Ryan Blaney has had more consistent finishes than Chris Buescher. I would have thought Buescher had better finishes, but going back through it, he also has not had a top 10 on these style of tracks. Ryan Blaney versus Chase Elliott in the finals at Indianapolis. Give me Blaney. He's had 2 top 10s in the 2 next-gen races there, where Chase Elliott has only had 1 top 10. So give me Blaney for the win. That is the in-season tournament. That is the starting lineup for the race today. Green flag is in the air. We're underway in the Toyota Save Mart 350 as Ty Gibbs, a pole sitter, leads the field on the opening lap of the race, beating Carson Hocevar down into the S's as we're just more than a half a lap in and working our way through the end of lap number 1. This is the first race on TNT out of 5 consecutive races for their summer stretch of the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, and then NBC USA Network to, of course, finish off the television side of things for the rest of the year. So visual purposes, again, you can watch on TNT or listen live here on KRC for all of the action. Our pole sitter Ty Gibbs going to lead lap number 1 over Carson Hocevar, who actually was not in second. Michael McDowell had a pretty good start getting into that second place position. So it'll be Gibbs first, Michael McDowell in second, Carson Hocevar in third, Kyle Larson fourth, Shane Van Gisbergen rounding out the top 5 and 5th as we begin this race and complete the opening lap. Out of 110 laps in today's race, we will have 25 laps in stage 1, 30 laps in stage 2, and the second half of the race will be the entirety of stage 3, 55 laps to take us to the finish around this 1.99 mile road course, a 11 turn road course here at Sonoma, much shorter than what we were dealing with last week in San Diego. A lot of pressure for McDowell and Gibbs in the opening laps of this race. Obviously, that first lap was all over him coming out of the hairpin, the first of which in turn 7 into the S's had to surrender the position. Now he's right back on Ty Gibbs' tail again. AJ Allmendinger battling with a fellow Chevy Ross Chastain through the S's side by side and inside the top 10, a battle for 6th on the racetrack. AJ had a top 5 last weekend in San Diego. Chastain qualifying top 5 this week and has had good runs at Sonoma in the past. Definitely in a desperate battle for track position early on. Chase Briscoe in that 19 car, Denny Hamlin in the 11-2 Toyota Camrys for Joe Gibbs Racing hot on their heels. Comment in the chat throughout the course of today's coverage. Who do you guys have in your in-season tournament bracket for those that filled one out? I'm very curious to see. Next 3 races at night. Yes. Yeah, a lot of night races coming up on the schedule. Some Saturday, some Sunday. I believe the Atlanta race is a Saturday night. And next week in Chicago will be Sunday evening, kind of starting in the daylight hours, should finish just after dark. Though with it being Central Time, it might actually finish just before dark, depending on how fluidly the race goes as far as cautions and all that is concerned. Kyle Larson, Shane Van Gisbergen battling for 3rd on the racetrack. SVG got alongside of Larson into the S's, but didn't choose to try to make a pass on him there. Losing touch of the top 2 cars, not too far out in front of him. Shout-outs to those of you that are watching the stream that I have not been able to give shout-outs to as well in the chat. We got JoJo, Bond1771, Earl Arnold Jr., Sharita Cooper, Steve J., Frank Powers, Dean Tate, Chris Dave, Tommy Vernado, Rainer Martinez, Willie Ellis, Patrick Shadley, and Marcus Villarreal, many others tuning in. Thank you for watching on this early Sunday afternoon for live commentary coverage of the NASCAR Cup Series at Sonoma. And this is the final road course race of the season. We have almost the entirety of the back half of the NASCAR schedule between the last 8 to 9 races of the regular season, and then obviously the 10 chase races, all ovals the rest of the way. And for Shane Van Gisbergen, who's the first driver below the chase cut line after a DNF on a street course last week, which is not a normality for him, was expected to compete for the win. And actually, advance points above the cut line. He went into the race 14th. He came out of the race 17th. He's only 5 points below the cut line. He's going to be going for all the stage points and race points for finishing result he can get here this afternoon to try to get back above that chase cut line, then hold on for dear life for the rest of the regular season as we go back to the oval stretch. He has been good in the drafting ovals. He actually had a top 10 at Atlanta earlier this season, so that coming up in a couple of weeks could be big for him. He has been turning the corner on ovals. There's a reason why he's 17th in points. He has been consistent enough. Not only the couple road courses we have had, but the fact that he is getting decent finishes on ovals as well. Definitely helping him along the way. Chase Briscoe, Carson Hocevar battling. Hocevar, who qualified on the front row, not really doing a great job of trying to keep his car up towards the front of the pack, and he has held up so many race cars that are behind him. As of right now, Briscoe was unable to make the pass to the first 4 turns on lap number 6. And the gap right now between Carson Hocevar and the next car in front of him for position is about 2 seconds to Ross Chastain. And then it's just everybody under one giant blanket in line behind him, which is keeping the position battles tight also for those cars behind him because of no separation between vehicles. Michael McDowell a little wide up out of turn 10, had his left side tires off into that sand, dead grass, dirt area above the curbing. Little wiggle. Ty Gibbs a couple tenths faster that last lap, probably in that section alone. That last time by at the start-finish line, Ty Gibbs had a 7/10 of a second lead over Michael McDowell, a 2.8 second lead over Shane Van Gisbergen in third. Kyle Larson 3.4 seconds back and fourth, and AJ Allmendinger 3.6 back, rounding out the top 5 in fifth. So we got 6 laps into the race. There is a side-by-side commercial break ongoing on TNT at the moment. Only other thing that we got to cover right now as we're just getting started with the race is the point standings, and you can see the regular season standings scrolling across the top of the screen throughout today's coverage. Tyler Reddick comes in with only an 8-point lead over Denny Hamlin. It was 134 races ago, but between the 3 wins in a row for Hamlin, and last week outpointing Reddick with that flat tire with 2 laps to go for Reddick, taking him back to a 26th place finish. It is now just an 8-point lead entering this week. Ryan Blaney minus 133 was able to gain 32 points on Tyler Reddick in 1 week as he had a good running and a stage win, in fact, last week in San Diego as well. Kyle Larson up 2 spots in points. He's minus 180. He is the highest in the point standings without a win as of right now. Ty Gibbs with 1 win on the season sits 5th, and Chase Elliott 6th after dropping 2 spots last week. He is only 2 points behind Larson, though, for 4th. Chris Buescher minus 216, 7th in points. Daniel Suarez, Carson Hocevar for Spire, still 8th and 9th. And Chase Briscoe in the top 10 in points for the first time this season. Bubba Wallace gained 2 spots in points after a runner-up a week ago. A lot of stage points to go with it. He ends up to 11th in the standings. Christopher Bell, last place finish with Brett Cruz in his replace. Bell did start the race, so he got credit for the 1 point that was scored for that team, but he is sitting 12th in the standings as of right now. William Byron 13th, dropped 2 more spots. Another poor run for the 24 bunch. 43 on a rail right now. Eric Jones 14th in points after 17 of 26 regular season races. Austin Cindric 15th. Ryan Brees 16th. Priest gained 3 spots in points last week. Also scored a ton of stage points. In fact, he actually had the most stage points of any driver last weekend in San Diego, and I believe still had a top 15 run to go with it. Despite scoring all those stage points and taking them, he was still able to get a decent finish out of it. Shane Van Gisbergen with the early DNF mentioned already. He dropped from 14th to 17th in points. He's the first driver out, only 5 points behind Priest for that final cut spot. Joey Logano is only 10 points out at 18th. 13 points back is Brad Keselowski at 19th. And AJ Allmendinger, who started top 10 this week, had a top 5 last week at San Diego. He is only minus 19 points below the cut line at 20th. Right now, the separation between 14th in points and 23rd in points is only 54 points total between those spots. So this battle for the chase here in the summer months with just 8 races to go in the regular season after today is going to be so tight the rest of the way. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch who's going to get those final few spots with so many drivers vouching for those final 3 positions right now. Advancing to where we are in the race, we are on lap number 8, just about to complete that, work our way to lap 9. Ty Gibbs is the race leader Michael McDowell in second, Shane Van Gisbergen in third, AJ Allmendinger now moving up to fourth. Larson has fallen to fifth place with Ross Chastain in sixth, Chase Briscoe seventh, Denny Hamlin eighth, Christopher Bell ninth, and Carson Hocevar rounding out the top 10. As far as the broadcast booth goes, it's still going to be Steve Letarte, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Adam Alexander in the booth, just as it was for the Prime Video races. As for the TNT schedule, also.
You're heading up the hill, and that's just not something that you need to be doing. And, turning somebody sideways is such a high-speed corner of the racetrack. Well, that's just probably a mistake. I don't know if the 20 may have gotten into the 77 at some point in the lap before to create some frustration there, but well, like most good hockey fights, you normally see the gloves come off. You don't see the 4 or 5 minutes leading up to it. You just wonder with the 20th bell if he can get back to the rear bumper of the 77. Was there some frustration, or did he make a mistake and kind of get checked up? And a lot of cars get loose in that part of the racetrack through turn one in practice. Almost been a long weekend for that. Like, I found the balance of this track pretty, the corners at least being pretty consistent with ones you fight. But this week, turns 1, 3 to 3A, these uphill airs look lower on rear grip than what I expect.
Let's get an update. Shane Van Gisbergen settled into third so far, Marty. Sands will laps in as we ride on board with Shane Van Gisbergen and the HBO Max camera. And he a moment ago said, quote, "We are not good." And Steve, the diagnosis later from SVG was we are too tight in the slow corners and too free on entry pretty much everywhere else. Stephen Doran made a ton of changes, way more than they normally make. And this 97 car, from early reports that the 97 driver is not very happy. But how do you think? Yeah, kind of both sides of the coin when it comes to handling, Steve.
Well, I think it starts with being too tight. The front tires have to track where the driver wants to go. He has a pedal to fix the rear tires. That's going to be on him. But when he stirs that steering wheel, those front tires need to react. The car needs to track. That's what I would attack. Lean on that expertise, that egg under that throttle pedal. Test his talent. They kind of did this last week. Opened the race. You're not handling well at all. Really complaining a lot about the car. And they made the adjustments necessary. He was super pleased with the race car in stage 2. So the chance they can get this thing turned around and get that car heading in the right direction.
You see the numbers on Ty Gibbs, really good on the road lately. Today, Shannon, what's the story there?
He sure is. I talked to Tyler Allen, his crew chief, before the race. He told me he really felt like they had a complete car, obviously super fast in qualifying and really good in practice as well. He said managing tires, number one thing for Ty Gibbs. And guys, they reminded him about that even before we took the green flag. He said, play the long game. He said, let the rest of those guys burn up their tires. You be smart. And even when he was under attack by Carson Hocevar, the word over the radio was our race. Just remember to be smart.
So many ingredients that will equal success when it comes to road course racing at NASCAR's top level. Look at this gaggle of cars just fighting everywhere.
Yeah, right now, everybody, for the most part, playing pretty nice. I mean, we've seen a little bit of contact here and there, but that's going to go out the window here. We get through the first couple of stages in this race. See a lot of contact up here at the top of turn 2 during moments like this.
How cool is this track elevation riding with Suarez to the top of the hill?
Well, it's a climb up to about 160 plus feet, but you also go down into turn 3. So you drive up into 2, down into 3, back up to 3B, down into turn 4. So it's like a roller coaster. You really load the race car into the banking, and then you spin the rear tires up over the top of these hills. So hard to get the power down. Right here, you hear the short shift, which Daniel does there. He can stay in that gear, but it just spins the rear tires to the essence. So he short shifts to another gear to really try to get some traction. Look at this rear spin right there. The tire's just spinning over the hill into turn 10.
By the way, we're measuring that elevation change, putting the start-finish line at 0. So you will see some negative numbers as they come down to turn 11 here. And Bubba Wallace will contact the crash yesterday in qualifying. Didn't go to a backup car. They repaired it. He's working his way through the field up to 24.
Take a look right here. The 5 to 16 AJ, and like AJ pulled over to let Marcia go. Let's take a look. Let's listen. Yeah. I think that he's struggled balance wise. And so he's like, hey, man, I'm going to let this car go. I'm going to get to a pace I'm comfortable with. We showed you the 20 and 77 have contact into turn 1. This is the 20 and the 77 in turn 11. That was pretty clean to me. I thought there was contact. I don't see it the same way. And I think that was just a good pass from the 20 and the 77.
Bell off to a good start. That broken wrist. Qualified 14th, up to 9th in the running order. His teammate leads. It's Ty Gibbs out front of McDowell, Van Gisbergen, Larson, and Allmendinger. Right through stage 1 in the Toyota Mart 350.
Working lap number 13, halfway through the first stage already in just the first 15 minutes of today's race. Ty Gibbs is our leader, by 1.3 seconds over Michael McDowell. Shane Van Gisbergen is 1.8 seconds back in third, and Kyle Larson 5.5 seconds off the lead back to fourth. Fifth place is AJ Allmendinger. Sixth is Chase Briscoe. Seventh place for Denny Hamlin. Ross Chastain in eighth. Christopher Bell ninth. And Carson Hocevar rounding out the top 10. Brian Blaney in 11th. William Byron 12th. Joey Logano 13th. Chase Elliott 14th. Austin Hill 15th. With Tyler Reddick in 16th. 17th Ryan Preece. Chris Buescher 18th. Connor Zilic 19th. And Alex Bowman in 20th. 21st Austin Cindric with John Henry Nemechek 22nd. Riley Herbst 23rd. And Bubba Wallace 24th. 25th for Zane Smith. Austin Dillon 26th, Ty Dillon 27th, Daniel Suarez 28th, Eric Jones 29th, Todd Gilliland in 30th, Cole Custer 31st, Brad Keselowski 32nd, Josh Berry 33rd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 34th, 35th Noah Gragson, Cody Ware round out the 36-car field. No cars still on the lead lap and within 30 seconds of our race leader Ty Gibbs. No lead changes because the pole sitters led all of the 13 completed laps so far. No cautions to show for. Our first stage break will be lap 25. Second stage will end again at lap 55. You can vote for who you think is going to win today's race in our chat poll. That will remain open until the end of stage 2. 54 votes have been casted so far. SVG, the favorite for the win amongst you all, and obviously my pick for the win as well. He's got 44% of 54 votes. 7% of you only taking Ty Gibbs, who is the pole sitter and has led every lap so far. Michael McDowell's been in second for most of this race, only 4% of the votes. 45% now taking over with other than those three for the win. Now leading the poll is somebody other than SVG, Ty Gibbs, or Michael McDowell, but it doesn't necessarily say that Gibbs or McDowell are necessarily going to get the win. So very interesting there. They'll have a standby. I think Brent Cruz is there, but the plan is for Bell to run the entire race today. Not like last weekend where he was subbed out first caution. I think Bell is going to try to ride this out for this afternoon. Big Bud 369, thanks for tuning in also. TNT is where you have to pay to watch commercials and not necessarily TV. Yeah, there's also that. Appreciate you tuning into my coverage. And they are back.
Sonoma, California on TNT. You see the top 5, Shane Van Gisbergen now up to the second spot behind Ty Gibbs, who's led every lap so far from the pole. And we have a taker on the pit lane, Daniel Suarez in. Marty Snyder. Unscheduled for Daniel Suarez. He has a tire going down. He thinks they debated for a moment. Hey, do you want us to pit or you want me to try and let this thing live? What do you want me to do? They decided to pit, so they bring him down pit road here. 11 to go. Really can't connect it from anything here, Steve, strategy-wise, but they had to get that Goodyear tire off.
Well, the big concern in the garage area this morning was only 4 sets of sticker tires in your pits. So I had multiple crew chiefs say, if you have a flat or spin out in stage 1, you're perhaps handcuffed for the rest of the day on being straightforward and not being very creative. So now we have Suarez leaving pit road, the Bleacher Report onboard camera climbing up into turn 2. As Marty says, can't connect it, meaning running long into the next stage. So just an unfortunate turn of events for the 7 as we see the march for the 19 of Chase Briscoe continues. Marlon good in practice.
Good start to the day for Joe Gibbs Racing. All 4 of their Toyotas inside the top 8, 2 in the top 5, including the leader.
Interesting to have an issue with the 7 car, the tire issue. Saw the 77 in the turn 11 have a big lockup on the right front. Hearing there might have been a lockup as well on the 71 of McDowell. All them teammates aspire maybe having a little bit of, some flat spotting issues or flat spot potential as the race goes on. That's one of the things that can fight you here in the 3 heavy braking zones is sliding the tire. Once you slide it and flat spot it, it finds that flat spot in the next braking zone for the rest of the run, and you continue to make that flat spot worse and worse before you even come to the road and change tire. Up to 6th. It's definitely going in a different direction than he led on.
Well,
Making his way towards the front.
And their confidence level coming into the day was on the long haul. So it may just continue to get better and better. Teammate impressive too. Here's Bell getting another one.
Yeah, the 45 of Reddick is going the other direction. He's not gained spots, struggling back there in the backside of the top 20. At a racetrack where we expected the 45 to defend or, to race for victory or challenge for victory.
You think about this summer run for Hamlin in erasing that enormous deficit from first to second in the standings and how big that is when you think about the reset and you see what's happened to Reddick today. We told a story for Hamlin moving up, and it's so interesting to watch the dynamic of these 2 race teams.
What's wild is how good the 23 lap cars were last week at the road course in San Diego. Just phenomenal speed across the entire organization. But today they look more normal, more average across the field. So we'll have to see how the day unfolds. Good battle right here.
Chastain qualified inside the top 10, has finished top 10 the last 2 weeks, but he's got company there with Blaney right behind him.
Now, we give a lot of flowers to SVG, what he's able to do in that 97, but I think, or at least I overlook what he brings to that entire organization. The one that Rob Chastain has definitely improved on the road course that's having SVG as a teammate. Here comes the 12 of Blaney trying to get that spot back. Byron going to try to follow him through. Hosvar seems to have leveled off. Blaney was quick in practice. As I mentioned earlier, the 24 as well. Chase Elliott back there, they're trying to get these spots, get around this 1 car. You see the 1 car of Chastain struggling, you try your hardest to make that pass as quick as possible before you become, get pressure from behind. If you don't make that pass quickly, then you become somebody that's on the defense.
AJ Allmendinger back in the 8th spot. Let's get 16 team radio. Always tells it like it is, and Echo Park is partnered for the first time ever on a car wrap with AJ and the team. It's for his 500th career start here today. What do you have for us, Shannon?
Yeah, AJ Allmendinger certainly came into this weekend with some momentum, Adam. He had his season best finish last week, San Diego. That would be a 5th place, but the car really has been a handful all weekend. We saw him run off course in practice yesterday, and since the drop of the green flag, he has not been happy. He said the car has been just really all over the place. You heard him say he believes there's some damage. He said the left front is shaking, and he does believe that toe has been knocked out. So not a good feeling for the 16, even though he is holding steady right now on the race course.
It's one of those drivers we talked pre-race, had a shot to go out and make it happen. Unfortunate start for driver 16. 7 to go in the stage. We'll see some pit stops soon. Gibbs in front of Van Gisbergen and Larson, McDowell, and Briscoe at the front.
Coming up on 6 laps to go now in stage number 1 at Sonoma. Ty Gibbs still has led every lap of the race. Shane Van Gisbergen has worked his way up to 2nd. He's within a 2nd of our race leader. Kyle Larson in 3rd, Michael McDowell 4th, and Chase Briscoe round out the top 5 in 5th. 6th place is Denny Hamlin with Christopher Bell at 7th, Carson Hocevar 8th, Ryan Blaney 9th, and AJ Allmendinger rounding out the top 10. William Byron in 11th, Chase Elliott 12th, Ryan Priest 13th, Ross Chastain 14th, and Joey Logano 15th. 16th is Austin Hill, Tyler Reddick 17th, Connor Zilic 18th, Alex Bowman 19th, and Austin Cindric in 20th. Got Hunter Nemechek 21st, Chris Buescher 22nd, Bubba Wallace 23rd, Riley Herbst 24th, the 25th is Zane Smith. Austin Dillon in 26th, 27th is Eric Jones, Todd Gilliland 28th, Brad Keselowski 29th, and 30th is Cole Custer. 31st for Josh Berry, Ty Dillon 32nd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 33rd, Noah Gragson 34th, Cody Ware 35th, and Daniel Suarez 36th after the unscheduled pit stop or a flat tire. Or a tire going flat for the 7 team. They're still on the lead lap, but again, last place, about 28 seconds off of Ty Dillon in 35th now. So going to have to work their way forward the best they can. They're not going to be able to pit and stay on the lead lap to the end of the stage with where they are currently running. Shane Van Gisbergen continues to close on our race leader, Ty Gibbs, up at the front of the field. It'll be interesting if he tries to stay out and go for the stage points or if he's going to pit, sacrifice, and try to go for the win a little bit later on. Because as of right now, he is within a half a second of the leader, and we are down to just 5 laps to go in the stage. Pit road closes with 2 laps to go in each stage, stage 1, stage 2, when the race leader gets to the start-finish line. So with the drivers that will be flipping the stage by pitting before the end of it, that means we're going to see some green flag pit stops really starting any moment here. Charles Warren Smith, thanks for tuning in. And many others, again, thanks for watching this afternoon. We'll take our first break of the stream here, late stage 1, listing live on KRC. Van Gisbergen all over the back of Ty Gibbs.
Moments in racing on Kalshi for a limited time. Download the Kalshi app and use code TNT to get $10 when you trade $10. Kalshi trade the future. 5 to go in the stage, and here comes Shane Van Gisbergen.
He's been closing the gap a little bit here on Ty Gibbs. Might be in position to go for a pass on the backside of the racetrack, turn 7. I don't know, just how hard he's pushing here. He knows he has a little bit of speed, but he's just talking about his car, wanting his car to get better. Got an opportunity to work on that car coming up here shortly, Steve. I'm going to be fascinated what these drivers all do. We've talked so much about points, what you want to do. Well, 4 to go right here, coming to 3 to go. The leaders could wait one more lap, but the rest of the field, we're going to have to make the decision this time by. Are they going to try to pit before the end of the stage? When you look at drivers like Larson, Briscoe. More importantly, how about Hamlin at 6th, trying to run Reddick down? I imagine he's going to stay on the racetrack and try to get some points. 88 at Zilic on pit road in front of you, Marty.
Yeah, 4 to go here in stage 1, Steve. The first of those to try and flip this stage, bringing his Trackhouse Chevy down the road in a little bit too free for Connor Zilic, who had a good run yesterday in the O'Reilly race, trying to get it done here in the Cup Series race today. And yes, next lap, you'll see a lot of people here on pit roads.
Yeah, it's going to get busy. So once again, the 54 and the 97 could argue and pit one more lap because they would be the ones that close pit road. So no surprise here if Ty stays on the racetrack. We'll see what he does for a decision. He does. So what does everyone else do? 97 as well. So then up the road, they had 6 seconds over Larson. So now Larson, Briscoe, Hamlin will be entering the picture on the right-hand side. There you go. On the racetrack. So very popular group staying on the racetrack. They could be gambling on the leaders coming the next time. But if Gibbs stays on the racetrack, it'll shut it off. Here you go. Here's the mess group coming to pit road. No surprise.
You want points, or do you want track position? And all these drivers say, give me some of that track position when I start that second stage.
Well, they had no points. They said, man, we're not inside the top 10, so we're going to have to come. I mean, you look at it. It looks like caution flag pit stops. So many cars coming at once. Shannon, Ryan Blaney on pit road.
Ryan Blaney, I told you guys he won that stage 1 week ago. Fast in practice, said the back is starting to slide. So you'll see him come in here and start to work on that number 12 car. Danielle? And then Tyler Reddick is going the wrong direction. After qualifying 11th, still at 17th, they said you are losing in turn 2. That is our biggest loss. They're trying to get better in that section of the racetrack.
That's pit road's busy. Rinse and repeat leaders coming now down into turn 11 again. We will see if now the 54 decides to pit or he's going to stay out for the stage win. Well, there you go. He's going to make the decision easy. Now, SVG is going to try to get committed to pit road before the 54 closes pit road. He has to get all the way around. There you go. He's now committed. Pit road was still open when he did it. Other cars are also jumping to pit road. Already 97 on the pit road in front of you.
Yeah, this was that decision marker that we talked about for the 97 team. Again, outside of a chase spot coming into the race here at Sonoma, but clearly feel like they have a car that can win. Similar pit road, and not a word from SVT after early on. We are terrible, but with one of the fastest cars, the later the run and win on your tires, they'll skip the points here and save themselves in a position to possibly win the race later today.
Because the start-finish line is all the way around turn 11, and all you have to do is go under that orange box, that allowed second, third, fourth to jump to pit road with Gibbs staying on the racetracks. Now, with about a lap and a half left, Gibbs should kind of easily go on to the stage win. The 97 of SVG feeling really good about his position.
Bell stayed out. McDowell, Hocevar, Ryan Priest, who ran it long, won a stage last week, is in the top 5 as we head toward the end of stage 1. Penalty for Austin Dillon. This is what you don't want to do. Flip the stage, get penalized, speeding for the 3 team.
He's been pretty solid on the road course this year. Austin Dillon has.
One lap to go at stage number 1, this time for Ty Gibbs, the race leader, who's got a 13.2 second advantage over Christopher Bell in second. 17.7 seconds to Michael McDowell at third, and a 21.8 second advantage over the 4th place car, Carson Hocevar. Caution free in the opening stage of today's race. Of the drivers inside the top 10, I believe Kyle Larson and Shane Van Gisbergen both pitted, but they were far enough ahead of a lot of other drivers that they are still going to cycle through and get some stage points. That's good for SVG, who can not only go for the race win, but he's also attempting this strategy on top of it. And knowing where he's at in points right now, 5 points outside the cut line, that's pretty good. Ryan Priest stayed out to get some points, just as he did last week in San Diego. He is in 5th right now, so he's actually going to pull ahead from SVG 2 more points, being 2 positions ahead of him. At the end of stage 1, that will be a 7-point gap now between 16th and 17th in the standings. We'll be putting a little bit more pressure on SVG to having to win this race the closer we come down to the finish. But stage 1, again, in the books. Ty Gibbs, your stage 1 winner. He led every lap of this race so far. Christopher Bell brings it home in second, with Michael McDowell third, Carson Hocevar fourth, and Ryan Priest in 5th. Alex Bowman 6th, Shane Van Gisbergen 7th, Eric Jones 8th, Riley Herbst 9th, and Kyle Larson, who also hit pit road, will get the final stage point in 10th. 1 point per position. Inside the top 10, 10 points from first down to 1 point for 10th. First yellow of the day will be the stage 1 break here at Sonoma. You're listening live on KRC to full flag-to-flag coverage of this afternoon's action. Yeah, Trackhouse has all the celebrations. You got the rugby ball for SVG. You got the watermelon for Ross Chastain. Connor Zillich is going to have to think of something souvenir-wise. Well, I guess nobody gets the watermelon, though. Like, somebody gets to take home the rugby ball, but nobody gets to take home the watermelon. Been a minute since we've seen a watermelon smash in the Cup Series. Got to see a rainy one in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Charlotte. That race ending short due to weather. So we're going to see a lot more pit stops coming up during the stage break with those that stayed out to get some points, or were too far back to pit, with Ty Gibbs staying out as the leader. Could be an alternate strategy where we could see some drivers maybe stay out of the pits with not a high amount of tire fall off. There has been a little bit in the Cup Series, maybe compared to the O'Reilly well, I should say just the O'Reilly Series this weekend. Trucks were off. But Ty Gibbs did have a little bit of fall off. About a second and a half over a 25 lap run at the most. Which a 25 lap run on a road course and having only a second and a half of fall off again, it's not a lot. If all of the drivers in the top 10 that chose to get points choose to pit here, then Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson will be the top two for the ensuing restart.
We're on VNC. Brought to you by Breztree. Visit us at Breztree.com. Stage one complete in the Toyota Sagar 350. Ty Gibbs gets the win. Impressive ride for Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson, who both clipped the stage but managed to stay inside the top 10, get stage points, and they'll have some track position when we go green in stage two. I'm curious, where is Mom? Let's find out.
Hey guys, I'm high atop the racetrack. Look at this view. I mean, if you wanted to get some brownie points with your significant other, say bring them to Sonoma and watch some racing. But I'm not the only one up here, guys. Over here to my left is the spotters. The main spotters are right here, so they can basically see from turn one. They miss 3A and 3B, and then the rest of the track is theirs until down in turn 11. I was talking to Chris Lambert, who is the spotter for Denny Hamlin earlier today. I asked him, I said, hey, was last week an anomaly, or are we going to see more out of the 11? He said Denny's gone to work in the sim. Old dog learning new tricks is going to be tough for the field. If Denny Hamlin can learn how to run some road courses now, boys, he might be hanging around for a lot longer.
Well, what a view, Mom. And I'll say spotting here becomes not just difficult for view, but you have to decide, is it drivers left, drivers right, or inside, outside? Because that could change in which direction you are basically turning. As you see now, Ty Gibbs wins that stage. Bell's second, but the penalty here will be their pit stop still required. You mentioned 23 cars flip the stage. That means we expect 23 cars to stay on the racetrack, Danielle.
Steve, Christopher Bell coming to pit road now. Car started going away with about 5 laps to go. Till then he said it built loose. A nice 4-tire stop here, Marty.
Boy, Danielle, for a team that came in 34 points out of a chase spot, 8 critical stage points for Michael McDowell in the 71. So we have pretty short run speed. It has to hang on longer, Canada.
Yeah, perfect stage for Ty Gibbs, who told his crew that the car is good to tight on those right-hand turns. They know that they're going to be back there in traffic for this stage 2. They told him, just be patient. We'll get it back in stage 3.
Yeah, you said it, Shannon. The race off pit road is critical because you want to minimize the damage knowing that you're already going to be starting behind all those cars that stayed out. Ty Gibbs first on. He's the first off. He'll restart outside the top 20. The man in charge, Shane Van Gisbergen, as we get stage 2 next.
At Napa, we know how to keep undercar under control. That's why our solutions are driven by 3 steps: stop, go, throw. Stop safety issues by checking systems before they become bigger problems. Go further with quality repairs that will then costly comebacks. And grow your business behind the parts, people, and expertise that keep your shop moving at full speed. It's Napa know-how.
Green's family vacation started with Expedia. Makes you go to go places. When hockey season ended, summer's. Dad knew his crew didn't need much, but they did need peace and quiet. Lots of space. So they planned their flights, car, and vacation home in one place. Great, right? Nice job, Dad. Expedia. One place you go, go places. In a pinch? Need cash fast?
Bridget's got your back. Get $25 to $250 instantly. No credit check, no interest, no late fees. Download Bridget for free today.
What is this?
It's the most important part.
All right, I'm back. Pit stops just took place at the end of stage number 1. Had to go get my water refill. Nearly grabbed a slice of pizza, but I'll wait till the end of stage 2 for that. Try to space it out a little bit more. Some good commentating to the host sounds better than the rented British guy that will appear in the new broadcast networks. Oh, geez. He's not British, by the way. He's Australian, if you're talking about Lee Diffie. But I appreciate that. We have 70 votes for who you think is going to win today's race in our chat poll. That will close at the end of stage number 2. 45% going for Shane Van Gisbergen for the win. He hasn't led yet today. Ty Gibbs, who led every lap of stage 1, only getting 7% of our votes. 3% with Michael McDowell, and 45% of you taking somebody other than those 3 for the race win.
First stage discharge from Shane Van Gisbergen. But we have a developing situation here with Tyler Reddick and the number 35 car guys. His team has gone under the hood. Jimmy, what do you think it is?
Yeah, it sounds like something in the power steering. We had this issue a couple times last year. They might be able to fix it and improve it, but as this issue develops, it's just eating the internal parts out of the power steering unit.
I don't know much, but I would say that not having power steering at a road course sucks.
Yeah, regardless of what his issue is, it's going to affect him greatly in the points. We talked about him being so close, or Hamlin being so close behind him heading into this race. Denny's having a great day and doing exactly what he needs to
Having
do.
a great day, and oh, by the way, let's take a quick look at the current point standings as they run. Denny made up 121 points over the last 5 races on Tyler Reddick, and as they run right now, we have a new points leader. Denny Hamlin is now up on Tyler Reddick by 31 points. Fellas, Denny Hamlin has made his way to the top of the Cup Series point standings over a 6-race run. Adam, back to you guys.
Yeah, it's been incredible. I mean, to be 31 up, I couldn't believe the turnaround this team has gone through. A 150-point climb.
Yeah, still a lot of race left. Have to see what happens with the Reddick car and whether they will make the repairs needed to give him the opportunity to get out there and perform. But Shannon, you got it? Danielle, you got more down there?
The 45 is trying to diagnose the issue right now, Dale. Tyler Reddick came over the radio and said, Billy, I can barely go fast. I'm trying to understand what's causing this. Billy said, we'll give you a full update when we understand the issue. Something's overflowing. We're just not sure exactly what that is.
So the power steering, it's a hydraulic system in here. There's a reservoir with a pump. It's run off a drive off the front of the engine. And we've had a couple different issues with this car. One can be the actual rack and pinion itself failing. This sounds like it's a hydraulic issue. But going off what Jimmy said right there, if the pump itself is kind of churning itself apart, it's going to be hard to fix here during the race.
Championship leader, number 1 seed in season challenge, head-to-head with Alex Bowman. Something to watch. Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson getting us going in the second stage.
Beginning of stage number 2, hustling up the hill through the carousel, and now into turns 3, A and B. It'll be Shane Van Gisbergen with the race lead over Kyle Larson. A tight battle for 4th ongoing between Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin on the racetrack. Blaney going to take that position away from Hamlin. Denny going to lose another spot as well, as William Byron will sneak in and take away 5th. Larson looking low underneath the Shane Van Gisbergen, but not going to be able to stay to the inside into turn 7. SVG going to hold on out in front. Van Gisbergen led all but 10 laps of a 79-lap O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race yesterday. The only laps he didn't lead was when he would pit to kind of surrender the stage points, and then those caution laps ran during the stage breaks themselves. So he pretty much dominated. This is the first time he's led today. He did sacrifice stage points here. He did get 4 of them with a 7th place finish in stage 1 despite pitting from the 2nd place position. So only sacrificed 5 points to now be the leader for stage 2. I'd say that was a job well done on the strategy call. Now they got track position. We'll see what they do from here on out. We've got a lot of racing left to go. I know we wrapped up stage 1, but that was only 25 laps. The second stage is going to be pretty short as well. Denny Hamlin, William Byron nearly making contact in turn 1 at full speed corner around a kink basically where you're on throttle all the time. Hamlin on the outside had to lift to keep his car on track after the 24 nearly got into him and ran him wide. Showing a replay. Ryan Blaney also having contact with Denny Hamlin. Blaney tried to get clear wide, and then the 24 car did the same thing right after him. Everybody's beating up on Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney showing a lot of pace in that number 12 car. He's quickly ran down the 19 car after getting by Hamlin the last lap. Larson may be holding up Briscoe just a bit. Briscoe had a top 3 run at Sonoma last season after starting on the front row as well. It's a good track for him. He's matched up against AJ Allmendinger in the in-season tournament challenge, and he's been outrunning him every step of the way, despite AJ qualifying just 1 spot behind him. And Allmendinger's still in 11th, having a decent run, but not with that 19 car up inside the top 3. And speaking of in-season tournament challenge, with Tyler Reddick, the number 1 seed for the tournament because he is the points leader, having power steering issues, he's still in the race. He has not gotten out of the race yet, but he is off the lead lap and has been on pit road ever since this restart. He is now 4 laps down in the last place position. He's the only car off the lead lap as well, and he is matched up against the 32 seed, which is actually Alex Bowman, being 32nd in points coming in. And Bowman, after taking stage points, is now 26th in the running order. So we could see another 32-1 upset again. Remember, Ty Dillon was the 32 seed last year in the tournament, made it all the way to the finals, and Alex Bowman this year looking to do the same. Looking to pull off an upset on the guy who has dominated for most of 2026. Team Van Gisbergen with about a 4/10 of a second lead over Kyle Larson, who's still keeping decent pace with him, but I just don't think that the 5 car not only has the pace of the 97, but again, has been kind of holding up the 19 and the 12. Shane Van Gisbergen probably saving his stuff a little bit more in this run, is backed up, and Larson was actually faster than SVG that last lap. Really got to his back bumper down into the hairpin in turn 11. So Van Gisbergen leads. Kyle Larson in second, was about a 10th faster than the leader that last lap. Chase Briscoe in third, Ryan Blaney fourth, William Byron rounding out the top 5 in fifth. 6 is Connor Zilich now, with Denny Hamlin in 7th, Ross Chastain 8th, AJ Allmendinger 9th, and Chase Elliott rounding out the top 10. All the drivers, by the way, who did end up staying out to take the stage points in stage 1 did pit during the stage break, so none of them stayed out trying an alternate strategy from anybody else in the race.
Skirts are not working.
Yeah, the pool skirt itself is basically a shirt that has little tubing that circulates cold water. What happens when the cold water stops recirculating, it just heats up to the level of the car. And anybody who knows who jumps in a pool, right? A 65-degree pool is way colder than 65-degree air. And that's kind of what happens right here. The warmer that water gets, it just insulates you. So he can connect something and just drain the shirt. But either way, it's going to be a tough situation. Luckily, a very comfortable day here in Sonoma.
As long as he's competitive, that'll distract him somewhat on the how uncomfortable he is. See the 45 car of Reddick still on pit road trying to fix power steering issue.
Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin continues inside the top 10. He's 7th right now as we think about that chase for the regular season title.
Well, and at this point, I question the 11 not scoring stage points in stage one, and shame on me. Chris Gale's decision to pit and keep this track position was genius because of this mechanical issue with Reddick. I don't think it's a higher priority for Hamlin. He actually can think, why not me? Banging at the end of this race, maybe I can have a great run here overall. So I like the strategy. We see the 9 and the 1 trying to decide who's going to get further right.
The chase is on. Chase diving to the inside of Chastain. Slides in behind Allmendinger.
Bubba Wallace driving through the field after the crash in qualifying.
2 weeks in a row they've come back.
He's done a great job today. I didn't know if 2311 cars had the speed, but he's shown up. That seems to have a car that can move through the field. There's the progress you see. Bottom of the screen is a 23.
Yeah, the speed is there. It's just unfortunately for Tyler Reddick, he was mired deep in the field and having power steering issues. He has been on pit road ever since the caution. And even into this restart, he still scored 6 laps down. He's losing a lap a minute basically at this rate, about 76-second lap times. SVG ran his fastest lap of the race at lap 34, which was a 76.999. That was the fastest lap of the race overall, and that was just about a lap or two ago. So Shane Van Gisbergen again out in front here at Sonoma. The gap for SVG, a half a second over Kyle Larson in P2, 1.3 seconds to Chase Briscoe in third. Ryan Blaney, 1.7 seconds back and forth. And William Byron, 2.5 seconds off the lead, rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Only caution so far, the stage yellow at lap 25. And stage 2 will end at lap 55 when we get there. Side-by-side commercial break ongoing on TNT. Godzilla Legendary, thanks for tuning in. Regine Huddleston, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Reddick has fallen off a cliff over the last month or so. It's kind of crazy, though, because I think it's more so Denny Hamlin putting the good runs together as much as it is Tyler Reddick falling off, because Reddick did finally have his first DNF a couple races ago. He could end up having a second one here if they can't continue. I'm going to assume that the hope is going to be they're going to try to get that 45 car, back out on the track. At the very least, for the in-season tournament battle, they have to finish ahead of Alex Bowman. So while they're 5 or 6 laps down, there's still a chance that Bowman could not finish this race, get involved in a crash, and Reddick could overtake him. Obviously, the more laps he loses, the less and less likely it's going to be that is going to happen, but never impossible, per se. And that's going to upset a lot of brackets, let me tell you. Including my own. Reddick being as good of a road course racer that he is, you would have thought he could have beaten Alex Bowman here today. There was no slouch at Sonoma, but I mean, Tyler Reddick on a road course, he would take that. Bowman's back in 28th place. You know, obviously not having a good run, but he's beating Reddick. He's doing what he needs to do to move on in the tournament. That'd be a huge highlight for that 48 team if they're able to win that this season with the struggles that they've had in speed, and Bowman, of course, being out, missing 4 races earlier in the year. Dealing with vertigo.
San Francisco. The gorgeous Golden Gate Bridge. Sonoma Raceway, the home that it's on this weekend. Heading toward the chase, and a familiar scene here. Shane Van Gisbergen, the race leader. Got a 1.3 second advantage over Larson, Briscoe, Blaney, Byron, your top 5. Heading toward the middle portion of stage 2. Briscoe having another good day, Danielle.
He should set them third. It's where he's running right now, and they're happy with the car. Dave said, just be careful getting too far left into turn 4. Other than that, your line has been great. James Small, the crew chief on this car, Adam, was emphatic when I talked to him this morning, saying, we are going to flip both stages because I'm here to win. If you go for points, you get buried in the field, and I don't want to race like a loser. I'm here to win.
I like a chief that has a plan, sticks with his plan, even if it doesn't work out. I do agree that flipping the stages is the best pathway forward to win. The reason you may not is because you just assume someone like the 97 is going to win the stage or the race, and you want to make the most of it. And I will tell you, Ty Gibbs and the 20th Bell doing a really nice job in full contact quarters. They're up to 15th and 16th. I don't think they'll get all the way back. Oh, as we see Bubba Wallace off track. You see the cars to the speed over to the right. So he got sent off to the left. And it looks like might have missed turn 8. Not sure if he made any contact with the barrier or the wall over there.
Very delicately merges back in. Todd Gilliland going to take advantage. Austin Hill there in the 33. Bubba was top 10. Now big score 22nd.
And Carlos clean. Well, so for it looking like he shortcut the course, that was a great update, right? From the top 10 to 22nd. So this is a track we rarely talk about shortcutting. He obviously found a piece of the track over there off track to gun it back on, but when losing spots, it's no advantage. So no penalty. The penalty itself is just losing the track position.
Look at the numbers there. They want consistency. Third at Michigan, second last week.
Let's see if we can get a look at this 23 of Bubba Wallace and how this happens. Just gets a little bit loose in the S's, overcorrects it. He knows that he's not on the racetrack anymore, right? So let's see. Got a little too much curb right there. And so that puts him on this runoff here. He comes to a stop because he thinks he needs to serve a penalty. He doesn't, right? Yeah. Stop's unnecessary. Yeah, he's going to have to do a little. Well, we say the stop's unnecessary, but it's a judgment call. So he's obviously over there in distress, getting too loose, pointed out, Dale. He probably has no idea where he's going to rejoin the racetrack. Not something you practice. So I'm afraid if he gasses up and he blends in about the same spot, NASCAR could at that point say, no, you cut the course, and that's a pass-through, which the 25-second penalty, he decides to give some back early in the race. I think I like that call from Bubba, just making sure you don't have to serve any sort of second penalty when it's already a mistake.
Let's get an update. William Byron said, Santa's.
Yeah, Adam Byron's stomping outside that top 5. He's still looking for his first win of the season. And despite that 32nd place finish at San Diego, Rudy Fugle did tell me that they're starting to hit on something. He said, we are getting closer and closer. Speaking of getting closer, Fugle and his entire crew, they made the drive up the Pacific Coast Highway from San Diego up here to Sonoma. I said it was a team bonding event for those guys. You know, they work so hard every single day, week to week, to be able to spend a little time away from the racetrack and away from the shop, just doing so great for this 24 team. Just a little bit tight right now for William Byron. Marty?
Behind Byron is Denny Hamlin. When I chatted with him this morning at an Al's car, he said, dude, we have legit speed. And after stage 1, it was a conversation between Chris Gale and Denny Hamlin.
Like on there the whole time, everything. Look, all we have to give you there. We were not traffic, you were good at anybody. Like not a little bit. Oh, Peter.
Steve, how many times can you tell Joe Jr., I got nothing to complain about? Driving, buddy. You kind of wondered why Chris Gale made that decision kind of forego those stage points. Maybe it's a straight up legit speed in the 11 that they clearly have today, and that was part of the decision.
And confidence. You know, Dale, you and I were just talking about Zilla, right? A young driver and how you build confidence. Well, I would tell you, even a veteran like Denny Hamlin, you love to know that your team has your back. And we're going to come here, you know, belong as we see some pushing and some shoving between the 19 and the 5. So I like the call from Dale and telling Hamlin, like, we are good. We're going to race this the right way. Try to get the best finish we possibly can. There's a dogfight for second right here. Larson, Briscoe, Blaney all ran within a tenth of each other the last couple of laps. And SVG is not a whole lot faster right there in the lead. So pretty interesting is the 5 getting pressure. He's going to start burning the rear tires off. You see a little movement in the braking zone of the 5. It's starting to slide around, get a little greasy in the back end. The 19 car continues to try to keep the pressure on. All these leaders have no interest in getting back into this mess right here. This is how your day can be ruined very quickly.
And this is where you really have to take a step back if you're Bubba Wallace, because you had passed all those cars, you go off track, and now, as Dale said, you're in the dogfight riding with Busher up the hill to turn 2. Right behind fellow Ford Zane Smith. Zane coming off a career best. When you talk about road racing last weekend in San Diego, he's a California guy.
Zane was given a lot of pressure to two eccentric laps ago, but it seems like he's overheated his tires a little bit, having to back off a little bit now, getting pressure for Busher. Busher and Logano moments ago, down into turn 7. Oh, he got a little loose in the brake and slow. Door slams the 22.
Hip check. Cindric there in the 2. He's trying to take advantage of that moment. That's the halfway point of our second stage. Shane Van Gisbergen is the race leader in Sonoma. He's in front of Larson, Briscoe, Blaney, Enzilla. You're watching that.
Shane Van Gisbergen out in front with about 12 laps to go in stage number 2. He's got a 2.3 second lead over Kyle Larson in P2, 2.6 seconds to Chase Briscoe in third, and 3.1 seconds over Ryan Blaney in fourth. Connor Zilic up to fifth place, 5.3 seconds out of the lead. William Byron 6.7 seconds back in sixth. Denny Hamlin in seventh place, 7.9 back. AJ Allmendinger back up to eighth, 9.7 seconds out of the lead as well. Chase Elliott, 11.1 back in ninth, and John Hunter Nemechek for Legacy Motor Club in the top 10, 13 seconds out of the lead in 10th place. And that rounds out the top 10 and the intervals between them. Stage 1 winner was Ty Gibbs after leading every lap at Stage 1 from the pole. He has picked up 10 positions since the race start and is back up to 11th place. 27 laps led total for the 54 car with a couple under caution as well. Shane Van Gisbergen restarted in the lead. He has led every lap so far in Stage 2 under green, 15 laps to be exact. And those are the only 2 drivers to lead today. Just the only lead change was on pit road during the stage break. 3 caution laps of the Stage 1 end from lap 25 to lap 28. Our only caution of the day so far. We have not had any incidents resulting in a yellow or debris or anything of that nature. Barely over an hour into the race, and we're already on lap 43 of 110 here today. This race is flying by this afternoon, and looking to continue to bring you the coverage the rest of the way. A lot of good battling middle of the pack, good battle for second throughout the course of the stage, but it is all Shane Van Gisbergen so far in Stage 2. The thing most NASCAR fans may be worried the most, but got to respect it. And after last week, you can definitely tell he is racing knowing that he does not want this one to slip away from him as well. Bubba Wallace going off the race course out around turn 2. Second time he's gone off course in recent laps. Now we got another car off in turn 3A, and that was Riley Herbst. So 2:23.11 Toyotas in the span of seconds going off the track. Just a couple turns apart from one another on the racetrack. That was interesting. Yes, Bam, welcome to the stream. At the Guardians game today. Hopefully you had fun. We'll highlight the in-season tournament challenges. We're nearing midway through today's race. Kind of the bigger hit on that, the number 1 and 32 seed matchup is Alex Bowman facing Tyler Reddick, the number 1 seed. Reddick with some power steering issues. He was on pit road for a very lengthy period of time. He has been back on the racetrack, so he's still in the race, but he's 7 laps down in 36th. He is the only car off the lead lap, so he will get one of those laps back at the stage end. But that's kind of an update on Tyler Reddick. And if we look at his lap times just to see what he's running right now, that last lap was a 78.671. That was ran by Tyler Reddick. That is 78.6. Just kind of looking back to see where that's at in comparison to some of the rest of the field. It's going to place him right about like 15th, 16th on speed. He was running in the 17th place position for most of stage 1, so it's not that far off from where he was running. So I'm not sure if the problem has been completely fixed or not. The car just could be lacking speed this weekend, ultimately. Because we usually don't see Reddick run anywhere near this poorly on a road course. He struggled for most of the first half of the race last week, though, in San Diego, too. He didn't score any stage points, and kind of buried middle of the pack, was able to get his way up in the final stage and got to a good spot. So we'll see how things are going to go for him. If he can get back into the battle with Alex Bowman, at the very least, if Bowman gets caught up in an incident of some kind for the in-season tournament challenge. So that's kind of the big highlight on that so far, really the only incident to record. And we will keep an eye on some other matchups as we get further along in the race today. Last look with just a handful of laps to go in Stage 2 for who you think is going to win today's race in our chat poll. That will remain open until the end of Stage 2. 46% taking Shane Van Gisbergen for the win today. 6% of you taking Ty Gibbs, 4% for McDowell, and 44% for somebody other than SVG Gibbs or McDowell. 81 votes have been casted so far. Fantasy leagues, by the way, will also lock up at the end of Stage 2. So make sure that your fantasy leagues in the KRC League lineups will be set. We'll go fantasy live on my end. Connor Zilich having a pretty good performance so far today. Really, my whole team has been. I'm going to put Zilich in for Larson because I only have 2 starts left for Larson. I thought he could have a good day today. But yeah, we'll put Kyle in the garage just for that. Ty Gibbs won Stage 1. He's been quick. Briscoe's up in second. SVG leads. McDowell looked really good in Stage 1. And Connor Zilich looks good now. I think Larson can outscore McDowell on points. McDowell did get third place stage points in the last stage, and he's currently 17, so he might get a couple more here. But I only have 2 starts left on the season for Larson, so I got to save him. Just to take a look at the league itself coming into this week, by the way, Hercules Harrigan on top of the board at 37.07. Freaky Fast 4 37.02, 5 points back in second. Monster Jam X10 in third with 36.59. 36.50 for Track Squirrel in fourth, and Troy the Great rounds out the top 5 at 36.44, sitting in sixth with 35.52 on the season. 8 races to go in the regular season to crowning a champion in our KRC League as well after today's race concludes. First half of the stage, Larson, Briscoe, Blaney, they were able to stay within a second or two of Shane Van Gisbergen. The longer the run, the better and better SVG is compared to the rest of the field. He's only had 0.4 of a second to 0.5 of a second of fall off since his fastest lap at lap 35 to where we're at right now, lap 48, where drivers like Briscoe have had about a second of fall off from their last lap to their best lap ran earlier in Stage 2. Blaney's fallen off 0.6. He's right there behind Briscoe in a battle for second. More jockeying for position going on further back in the pack. Around Joey Logano in the 22 car, getting passed by Cole Custer for 23rd. Not a good run for Logano after qualifying up inside the top 10. And a second place battle on the racetrack between Ryan Blaney and Chase Briscoe is ongoing yet again. Mentioned about those two only being about 1/10 of a second apart from one another. Blaney's got to get this pass done quickly, though, because otherwise Connor Zilich is going to be right there. He's closed in on the back of the 12th car as well. Blaney lost a little ground through turns 2, 3, and 4 to the 19, and the 88 is actually closer to Blaney for third than Blaney is to Briscoe for second now. Into the hairpin in turn 7, Blaney hard into the braking zone, much deeper than Briscoe, gets to the inside, wraps the curving on the bottom. Briscoe going to fight hard for the track position, but into the S's, it will be Ryan Blaney taking over second place. And here comes the Chevy of Zilich in the 88 car, in hot pursuit as well of Chase Briscoe. Blaney had to get that pass done quickly, otherwise he was going to be in danger of losing a spot of his own. Larson creeping back in as he's getting better later into the run versus the 19. It looks like Briscoe's car's falling off. Into turn 11, the next passing zone. Connor Zilich on the inside of Briscoe for third. Nearly scrubs the inside wall as he tries to hold as tight of a corner as he could. Briscoe runs him just a bit wide. Still side by side. He's across the start finish line and up the hill through turns 1 and 2. Zilch going to have the advantage down on the bottom. Briscoe pinches him off just a bit and plays good enough defense to hold off the 88 for at least a few more corners. Zilch going to have to set him up through turns 3A, 3B, as well as 4A and 4B, so that way down in turn 7, he could try to pounce in the same place that Ryan Blaney was able to pass Briscoe for second the last lap. Out of line goes Zilich to the inside of Briscoe. Is not able to carry as much braking speed into turn number 7. Zilich clear off the exit of the corner for third. Zilich also looking for redemption after running top 3 last week before a crash and a restart with Austin Hill and Shane Van Gisbergen in stage 2. Talked a lot about SVG wanting some payback versus the field here today, and he has done it in domination in stage 2. But Connor Zilich coming from deep in the field, not a good qualifying effort yesterday. Started this race in 17th. It took him nearly half of it to get up inside the top 3, but here he is. And we'll see what kind of pace he has to Ryan Blaney to maybe take away second before green flag pit stops open up in a couple laps. And 2 to go in the stage. Pit road will close, and we're down to 5 laps to go in stage 2 right now. So we're going to see a lot of cars pit over the next 2 to 3 laps. Laverne Angel, Dean Marsden, thanks for tuning in. Watching the race from New Zealand, just a question, what's up with all the ads during the race? I don't get it. If you're talking about on TV, I don't know what to tell you, honestly, other than welcome to America. Down under Scotsman, AJF, thanks for tuning in as well. Robert Peebles, welcome to the stream. I cannot show you the cars on the racetrack in the stream, unfortunately. I'll get copyrighted for that. .3 seconds ahead for Van Gisbergen. I'll say the same thing today as what I said tomorrow. I think the only thing that's going to take Van Gisbergen out of the top spot to win today's race is going to be an incident on a restart, which is exactly what took him out middle of the race last week on the streets of San Diego. The difference between a street course is the tight confines, and you don't have a lot of room from wall on the inside to wall on the outside of the racetrack, versus Sonoma has a lot of runoff. So if he were to get involved in an incident, more of a chance he could at least save the race car and keep his car in the race and damage free if something were to happen on a restart, versus completely totaling the race car and unable to continue. Pit road is open for green flag stops. Michael McDowell and some of the first comers of stage 2 pit stops are in.
He is going to flip this stage here. They bring him down, get fresh neuters on. He said the car just too free and they fall off way too much at the end of the run.
So Ryan Priest, Brad Keselowski, and Michael McDowell, the first 3 cars on the pit road, coming to 4 to go on the stage. Shane Van Gisbergen, a little bit of a bluff. And coming to pit road that time by, he will stay out on the racetrack. And as big of a lead as he has, if Blaney on back from second place were to pit, they're going to have to pit now. Blaney stays on the track. Chase Briscoe from 4th will pit. Larson, Denny Hamlin, 5th and 6th place also in.
Stays out. See the split decision already.
William Byron, Chase Elliott into the pits as well.
The 19 of Briscoe running inside the top 5, Danielle.
Yeah, Chase Briscoe has been absolutely silent on the radio, but he's happy. James Small is happy with the race start. He said, just focus on the exit, don't overdrive it. They're flipping the stage again. He said, focus.
And here we have hey, should Denny Hamlin and Chris Gale stay out and earn those stage points? They decide not to. He said the car, 0 complaints for Denny Hamlin. Chase Elliott said, my car is really good. I just need to manage the rears a little bit better. The 9 with some decent speed. And look at that little track race here between Chase Briscoe and Kyle Larson coming off pit road.
That was fun.
19 car came in just ahead of the 5, leaves pit road just ahead of the 5, so no change for position in the pits there. With Shane Van Gisbergen and Ryan Blaney staying on the track, we'll see who's going to stay out to get these stage points. Right now, Shane Van Gisbergen from the lead will enter pit road, coming to 2 to go.
Gee, they won stage 1.
head start the 97
We'll
has.
see if Ryan Blaney pits.
Play around. There's going to answer your question.
Blaney coming in as well, so is Connor Zilich.
Ty Gibbs stays on the racetrack. He will be the leader and probably have the best chance to win the stage. Marty.
You see SVG coming down pit road, so that last adjustment really helped. I need more of that, but the long run speed of the 97, just exceptional. And even though they're going to flip stage through here, don't be surprised if SVG gains a decent amount of stage points here as well. See his teammate Connor George, who's really ace SVG on the longer run. That's a day for Connor George.
Blaney into the pit box just as Shane Van Gisbergen out the back of this 12 car is sliding. No further word on that full suit, so we'll have to keep an update on that.
Yeah, SVG and the pylon has blended back in the 7th position. So, as we talk about all the time, fast cars make strategy much easier for a crew chief. And the 97 of SVG has the speed. You see on the left side.
All right, so who stays out to get the points right here? Ty Gibbs, who won stage number 1, going to stay out, and he is going to try to win these first 2 stages of the race today after qualifying on the pole. He has led the most laps of this race so far, will continue to do so as he leads late in the stage. Christopher Bell, who stayed out to get stage points at stage 1, going to do the same thing here. He was 2nd place at the end of the first stage, 2nd here, so Gibbs will get 20 points. Considering he is about 2 seconds ahead of Bell, I don't think Bell's going to catch him in the last lap of the stage. Christopher Bell is going to get 2nd in both stages, so that is going to be 18 points for the 20 car. Good day for those 2 JGR Toyotas so far. And Shane Van Gisbergen, who took to come to pit road, cycles out of the pit lane in 7th, which is where he finished stage 1 after pitting from 2nd place as well. So he's still going to get decent stage points today, all things considered. Credit to him having as big of a lead as he had. Plus the amount of cars that decided to come to pit road behind him in the running order as well. Connor Zilich in the 88 car, faster pit stop to that of Ryan Blaney on the racetrack. Was able to jump the 12 team in the pits. Maybe not a surprise with how much that 12 crew has struggled this season. So Connor Zilich looking to be right there with SVG on a restart to begin stage 3, perhaps. Assuming that everybody that stays out for the stage points will come onto pit road during the stage break itself, just as they did back in stage 1. Ty Gibbs working his way out of turn 11 this time. He'll capture the first 2 checkered flags of the day, the green-white checkered flags, as he wins stage 1 and stage 2 at Sonoma. Christopher Bell in 2nd, A.J. Allmendinger 3rd, Austin Cindric 4th, Ross Chastain 5th, and Zane Smith in 6th. Shane Van Gisbergen 7th, Connor Zilich 8th, Chase Briscoe 9th, and Ryan Blaney rounds out the top 10, getting the final stage point in 10th. So SVG, Connor Zilich, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Blaney 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th on the leaderboard, all pitted, while the top 6 stayed out to get points. Just under an hour and 20 minutes to get through the first 2 stages in the first half of today's race. No cautions for incident, only 2 yellows so far. The stage ends at lap 25 and lap 55 thus far. Ty Gibbs wins the first 2 stages. You're listening live, KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of today's Sonoma Raceways Toyota Save Mart 350 continues. Just closed off our chat poll since we're at the end of stage 2 as well. That's Shane Van Gisbergen, the favorite to win today's race via the chat poll at 49% of 91 votes. 41% of you also pretty high in the vote getting, taking somebody other than Van Gisbergen, McDowell, or Ty Gibbs for the win. Gibbs wins the first 2 stages, started on pole. He only gets 7% of the votes, and Michael McDowell at 3%. It was kind of of my top 3 favorites to win today's race in the pre-race itself. And we shall see what will happen in the back half of the race today. Again, we are halfway home, and we have finished the first 2 stages already this afternoon. The cars who will pit at the end of the stage are still going to have to pit one more time after their stops. And for everybody else, it's still a one-stop race to make it on fuel to the end as well. Most of the field going to be either splitting the stage in half, or as soon as that fuel window opens, maybe coming onto pit road as well. Not a lot of tire fall off on the Sonoma circuit. I would imagine most of the field will come into the pits with about 30 to 35 laps to go rather than split it in half, just because of not wanting to get caught with a caution in the middle of the green flag cycle when you haven't pitted yet and having to pit behind everybody that already did. Kind of the same strategy you would see at the end of the stages with the field flipping, not wanting to be caught on the wrong side of a caution. The only difference is the guaranteed yellows for the stage breaks are done. So we're not guaranteed another caution the rest of the way, but it's still a guessing game as to whether there would be one or not. You don't want to risk that, especially if you've got a fast race car. Even if you're fast enough to get back through traffic again, why put your driver at that risk of being involved in an incident on a restart running mid-pack when they've been at the front most of the day? So I would imagine we'll see the final pit stops of the race coming up in about 20 to 25 laps, which would be about the length of what we had for stages 1 and 2 anyway. So the final stint on tires to the end of the race, more than likely going to be the very last run. In the pre-race, each of these teams got 5 sets, but you can make this race on 3 stops pretty easily. So there will be 2 extra sets of tires if, for whatever reason, pit stops came about for maybe the back half of the field or something of that nature as we get later in the race and potential cautions.
Star of Express Car. And by Straight Talk Wireless, an official partner of NASCAR, available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Next weekend, Chicagoland Speedway. Mart cars hit the track Friday evening, FS1, 8 Eastern Time. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series taking center stage. The 4th of July celebration, 5:30 Eastern on CW. That's Saturday. And Sunday, our coverage, NASCAR Nation begins 5 o'clock Eastern on TNT. And we can say, slide job together, Dan.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait to see next gen in Chicagoland. Yeah, buckle up. It's going to get busy.
It is. Here they are, Danielle.
Christopher Bell's coming in after finishing second in that stage, Adam. Christopher has scored 8 points today. That's important because they're 12 good points. They've had a rough few weeks and a rough pit stop here. He had a 20 coming out, had to back it up, and now the 20 is away, Shannon. Yeah, Danielle, the car has just been a handful for A.J. Allmendinger making his 500 start today. Said he just can't push it as hard as everyone else. They are going to make an air pressure adjustment. You see the 54 right there, a little bit slow. He's just a little tight, but of course a great points day for Ty Gibbs, who came in here within the points and has now secured both stages.
Christopher Bell, we'll talk about his issues. Lost 4 spots in that exchange.
We heard issues on the 20. It looked like the left front on the left side. So watch from they leave the right side as they come around the car. Everything looks great. But watch the exchange in the front. Watch the tire carrier. He hangs the tire. Jack drops. Whoa. He bangs on the windshield. Great heads up move by the tire changer, tire carrier. They know it isn't tight. This seems bad. Remember, if this car goes on the racetrack and the tire comes off, it's a 2-lap penalty and a suspension. This right here is just a loss of spots. Watch this tire carrier. Banging on the car. That's better than radio communication. I'm just going to bang on the windshield.
And they jacked the car up to be able to secure the lug. You cannot tighten the lug with the tire on the racetrack or on the surface pit roads.
We'll reset things and go.
All right, pit stops have just concluded at the end of stage number 2. Ty Gibbs, your first 2 stage winners of the day. Shane Van Gisbergen will cycle back into the race lead yet again, and he will have Connor Zilic, both from yesterday. These two finished 1-2 at Sonoma and back-to-back O'Reilly Auto Parts Series races. Now going to be on the front row for a stage 3 restart here in the Cup Series. Connor Zilic has had good runs on road courses this season, has now been able to get a good finish to show for. He is still in search of his first top 10 of the year through the first half of his rookie campaign at the age of 19 in the NASCAR Cup Series. Will today be the day that he gets not only that first top 10, maybe a first top 5 to go with it, maybe, just maybe a win. Can you imagine his first career top 10 being a win? in the NASCAR Cup Series. How quickly that could happen. We've already seen 2 drivers get their first career Cup wins this season. Actually, 3 drivers have gotten their first career Cup wins this season. We had Ty Gibbs at Bristol. We had Carson Hocevar at Talladega. And just last week, Corey Heim, a part-time driver in the Cup Series, winning at San Diego. We see a 4th in just the first half of 2026. It's been a wild season. You got your favorites winning more often than not. I mean, it's just hard to believe between Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin combined, they've won 9 races already this season. That's not even counting the All-Star race. Denny Hamlin won that as well. But of the points-paying races, they've won half the schedule. 3 of those other races that they have not won of the 9 have been won by drivers who have never won in the Cup Series before. Connor Zilisch trying to be a 4th to do so here today, and he is not out of it by any means. Trackhouse teammate to that of Shane Van Gisbergen might be the biggest threat to SVG, and that he was able to leapfrog Blaney in the pits, that's big because now, again, he can restart in the front row. If he stays in second place right there behind SVG, we know how well he can learn behind him. Yesterday in the O'Reilly race, he was never able to get within 3 to 4 seconds of him in that final stage. They were on alternating strategies where Connor Zilisch stayed out to win stage 2 in the O'Reilly race. So in doing so, he had to restart further back in the field versus SVG was already at the front as we began the final stage. By the time Zilisch got to second place, he already burned his stuff up and couldn't get within 3 seconds of the leader the rest of the race. But now they're on the same strategy. They're going to be first and second, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
The other driver to do that here in Sonoma was Larson, 2021, and Larson went on to win that race. Great pit strategy here from SVG, Connor Zilisch, Chase Briscoe, and Ryan Blaney. Each of them flipped the stage, Jamie, but each of them finish in the top 10 and earn stage points.
Yeah, I mean, look at these stage points for both Gibbs and Bell. I mean, 2018. But they've essentially forfeited their shot at going after SVG in this race, realizing on having a great point stay. And if you look at Gibbs, for example, points, only 1 point behind Larson ahead of him, only 50 behind Blaney, who neither of those guys are on that list. So having a great point stay.
How does this change the approach?
It changes so much. When I think about the issues on pit road that we saw for the 20 car, him back in the vehicle this weekend, what he's trying to chase, and the amount of effort and energy and how kind of on the ragged edge these big guys have to live. The fact that they stopped that car, got it back in action, I think, Christopher's going to have a great day. And then all this other points collecting that's going on is really going to shake things up.
And certainly incredible grit from Christopher Bell. And Dale, I want to pose to you, based on everything that Christopher Bell is managing with that broken wrist here at a road course, turning right and left, having to manipulate and change different pieces of the interior of that race car. How do you describe what you're seeing with him?
Well, it's been pretty impressive, honestly. And, as long as you're driving a race car, I think that all of us that have driven understand this. No matter how sick you are or injured you are, if your car is competitive, it's a distraction. It keeps you in the fight. It's when those days are long, that's when it gets really, really tough.
2 really talented road racers on the front row to begin the final stage. Shane Van Gisbergen next to the rookie Connor Zilisch.
All right, this is going to be a lot of fun to see who can keep pace with Shane Van Gisbergen. Now knowing that Connor Zilisch, the phenom, up towards the front with him, green flag in the air. Pretty good launch in the restart zone for Zilisch. He's not going to be able to hang alongside of the 97, but he should get clear of Briscoe easily into turn 2 for the second place position, and does. Briscoe in third. Ryan Blaney set the battle side by side with Kyle Larson for 4th. Very tight battle between the 5 and the 12 right now. Clean racing, though, at that. Larson just keeping his nose to the inside of Blaney into turn 4B. Most of the field double wide still, also behind the battle between the 12 and the 5. Bottlenecking into turn 7, first hairpin. Haven't really seen any spins in either hairpin so far today. Been pretty clean on the restarts especially. 50 laps to go in the race, by the way, this time by. Connor Zilisch trying to stay in that draft behind Van Gisbergen. Bit of a defensive line by SVG down on the inside of the racetrack, but Zilisch runs him cleanly through the hairpin in turn 11. First green flag lap of stage 3, led by Van Gisbergen. And working their way now uphill through turn 2. Chase Briscoe also hot on the heels of both the 88 and 97. I'm sure if Zilic has a chance to make a pass on him, he's going to do it. We'll see down in turn 7 if he's going to do what he can. Obviously, SVG going to be deep in the braking zone himself and actually elongates his lead. Oh, and we got a pile up. Josh Berry. A lot of smoke out of the back of his car. Cautions out on the speedway. Our first yellow for incident.
Only cautions prior to now were the end of stage 1 and stage 2. First for a problem on track, 61 laps into this race.
It's another lap back for Reddick. He got one back for the last caution at the stage break. So put him 4 laps down. I know we've unlikely to get 4 yellows, but you just never know what might be able to bring this guy back into the battle.
You keep tightening cars up for restarts here in the final stage. We saw this a little bit last year. I mean, we say it so often, but when it comes to this style of racing, cautions do, in fact, breed caution.
Just want to see what the yellow was for. Right here, we're going to see some contact. 221.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if Josh turned into the corner unknowingly coming across the nose of the 2 car of Cindric. It's hard to tell from that vantage point, but just a contact between the 2, and then 21 spins Josh around.
Then a stack up with some other cars.
Probably. Everybody lucky to get through their act.
I thought Bush was going to be a yellow by itself. Go spin it out off the curb. Oh, there you go.
Debris on track, early caution, final stage. Van Gisbergen leading in Sonoma.
So spin for Josh Berry after contact with Austin Cindric, and there was some debris left behind on the track right around turns 2 and 3. So that is the reason for our first caution of the day. And it comes with about 50 laps to go in this race. And just after 1 lap had been completed under green in stage 3. Under the caution, Shane Van Gisbergen leads, Connor Zilic in 2nd, Chase Briscoe 3rd, Ryan Blaney 4th, Kyle Larson in 5th, with Michael McDowell in the 6th place spot. 7th for Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott 8th, William Byron 9th, Carson Hocevar rounding out the top 10. Just over an hour and a half into today's race. Yes, leaderboard is correct. So Ty Gibbs ended up winning stage 1 and stage 2. He stayed out to get the points in the 2nd stage. And led all the laps in stage 1 from the pole. Currently, Ty Gibbs in 20th. He did pick up 3 spots on that first restart of stage 3. Looking to get a few more. We'll take another break. You're listening live on KRC. Our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race continues. In-season tournament challenge. Josh Berry is involved in this incident with some damage. He is matched up against Ryan Blaney, who's been running top 5 between stage 2 and now stage 3 in the 4th place position. So caught up in that incident. Austin Cindric is matched up against Brad Keselowski, another Ford in his battle. So Cindric in 22nd, Keselowski in 12th right now. Decent run for Brad on a road course. So far, got the upper advantage. Honestly, I don't think Reddick's going to be able to outlast Bowman. I know it's not impossible Bowman gets involved in an incident, but I just, that's the only way that's going to happen. So I'm going to lean towards the side of if I can get 13 of these 16 matchups right, I think I'm in a good spot. And as long as I have all of my final 4 after this week, I think I'll take that as a win.
I'm Adam Alexander.
And I don't have Reddick in my final footing.
Turn 7 on the restart.
Well, we talked about Bell with that injured left wrist. Great track position earlier to score points, but right here is stacked up a shot. That shot in the front bumper, not as concerning. Right on board, though. Check this out. That's a much harder contact than you would looks like from outside the car. It's don't concern me as much as if that happens door to door, Danielle, and you hit those front tires. I just get worried that the wheel could be jerked within his hands and perhaps injure or at least hurt that left wrist.
Adam Stevens told me this morning, Steve, that he's only halfway through his recovery. It was 3 weeks ago. The doctors say it's another 3 weeks until that wrist is 100%. Bell just came on the radio after that slow pit stop. It was 17 and a half seconds. And he said, guys, no matter what, I know we're back in 25th, but we scored 18 stage points today. We desperately needed those. Guys, they're 12th in points. They've had 3 straight finishes of 26 or worse. They're trying to salvage something here today.
Yeah, that's a job well done. That team has been bleeding a lot of points lately, obviously, up until the injury for Bell. He had a couple of crashes with Michigan, Pocono. He did not have a good finish despite having a decent day going for him on strategy. It looked like towards the end they took a gamble. They've been running about 20th most of the day. They end up finishing just outside the top 20, not quite able to stretch the fuel window in that final run. And then with the substitution of Brent Cruz coming in at San Diego last week and having the mechanical failure in a last place run, that's why they're 12th in points right now. And it is not that big of a gap between themselves and the cut line. In fact, mathematically, they could have been outside of the chase bubble entering today. So getting those 18 points, very, very vital. Might be able to put himself not only a little bit further ahead of the cut line. Well, actually, I mean, if you think about it too, Shane Van Gisbergen can be in the first yard below the cut line. Even with him getting those points, SVG wins. He's going to lose points to the cut line. So very vital that he gets those stage points, at least trying to salvage something out of the day. Now, if he can get a top 10, top 15 run, that'd be a fantastic points day for Christopher Bell, especially with a broken wrist and all. So we're going to try this again. It will be another restart. A little less than 50 laps to go now. And it will be Shane Van Gisbergen versus Connor Zilic on the front row. So SVG taking the same lane he did before, which would be the outside of row 1. Or sorry, outside of turn 1, inside turn 2. And the green flag's back in the air. And he got a great push through the restart zone from Chase Briscoe. That alone got him out ahead before even getting into the first turn. And Chase Briscoe looking to take over second from Zilic, but Zilic is still battling hard on the outside through turn 2. Briscoe slams the door shut into turn 3A. And Zilic will have to hold on for third, which he does successfully as Blaney and Larson are side by side for the second consecutive restart for fourth. 3 wide up out of turn 4B. A lot of jacking up going on into turn 7. A few rows of 3 wide. 1 car wide and goes for a spin. And a few other cars having to go off into the grass to try and miss the spinning Denny Hamlin. Tyler Reddick was having a bad day today with the power steering issues, and now Denny Hamlin in the 11 with a spin on the restart after running in the 6th place position is now falling behind as well, and this might bail Tyler Reddick out for the day on points and really open the door for Ryan Blaney, who has had a fantastic day. He's up in the top 5. He can put it together. He'll be within 100 points of the top 2 headed into the next several weeks. Todd Gillen spun around in turn 11. He stalled out, not quite stalled out, just had to wait for the field to get all the way back by him before he could turn the car back around in the correct direction. But Gilliland is rolling again. My goodness. Well, this is the most pandemonium that's happened on the restart so far. Tough to tell how Denny Hamlin spun. He had some contact in the middle of his tail whip around the exit of the corner. I don't know who it was with. And he was towards the front of being 3 wide into turn 7. I think it was just 2 cars underneath him washing up into his right rear corner panel, and around goes Denny. Well, that's the risk of sacrificing the stage points that they were doing all day to stay on the strategy with the leaders. If something bad happened, they had nothing to fall back on, and that's the case here. And this might allow, just might allow for Tyler Reddick to keep the points lead at the end of the day. Because again, Hamlin did not get any points today in the stages. He sacrificed both of them. Reddick obviously didn't with the power steering issue. So for Denny Hamlin to take the points lead, he would have to beat Tyler Reddick by 8 positions today. 9 technically, because Reddick would have the tiebreaker for the most wins. 5 wins for Reddick to 4 for Hamlin. So if Reddick finishes last in 36, Denny Hamlin will have to finish in the 27th place position to take the points lead. Thought it was a foregone conclusion that could be the case now with the spin. Hamlin's in 34th and the second to last car in the lead lap. The only reason he's ahead of one is because Ty Gilliland spun just a couple turns later in turn 11, and now Gilliland is last on the lead lap. And Chase Elliott now gets turned off the front bumper of, it looks like, Austin Cindric in turn 4B. Elliott's 6th in the point standings and only 2 behind. And now we got another spinner. John Hunter Nemechek, and he spins a second time, trying to get back going again. Oh my gosh. We have seen more spins in the last 2 laps than we have the entire first 60 laps of the race combined. Oh my gosh. I mean, other than Bubba Wallace going off course, and Riley Herbst, I think, went off course one time as well. That's it. That's all we had seen today. Until the Josh Berry incident, and now 4 different cars have spun in the first 2 laps following the restart at lap 64. Unbelievable. Yeah, there's some definite contact. Elliott was getting held up by, I believe, Brad Keselowski in front of him, and then there was no contact between the 6 of the 9. 9 was just kind of running it easy, knowing he had a car in front of him, and fortunately around he went. And now we've got an aggressive move by Connor Zilic, who's trying to keep pace with Shane Van Gisbergen and take away second from Chase Briscoe. Stuffed his nose to the inside of Briscoe, lead into turn 7. Slight bit of contact, but Chase holds on for the second place spot. Connor Zilic, who thinks that he has a shot at Van Gisbergen, does not want that 97 car to just run away from him. He's in a dire situation to make this pass as quickly as he can, but Briscoe's just holding him up. Through turn 11, tight around the bottom of the racetrack for both of those cars, second and third place. And Briscoe fends off Zilic for yet another corner as he loses time to the race leader. Last time by at the start-finish line, Shane Van Gisbergen had a 1-second lead over Chase Briscoe in P2 and 1.3 seconds to Connor Zilic in third. Ryan Blaney sits in 4th, Kyle Larson 5th, Michael McDowell in the 6th place spot. 7th is William Byron, Ryan Preece 8th, Carson Hocevar 9th, and Ty Dillon rounding out the top 10. What a run for Ty Dillon here today. Is he going to beat Denny Hamlin in the in-season tournament with the spin by Hamlin? Oh my gosh, you might have the number 1 and number 2 seeds out after race 1. I mean, I told you guys just a little bit ago, before that last restart, it would be a win for me today personally if I go 13 for 16 and I have all my final 4 in. I'd say that's a win. It keeps me in the hunt. And now with some spins here from the likes of Hamlin, Reddick, and his issues, that could be 2 losses already. And I believe I have Hamlin in my final... no, I do not have Hamlin in my final 4. Well, maybe it won't be quite as bad as I thought. I don't have Hamlin or Reddick in my final 4. I got Hocevar, Elliott, and Elliott just spun, so that's not good. But I have Hocevar, Elliott, Blaney, and Buescher are my final 4. So I'm just hoping that those guys hold on. Blaney's in the top 5. I think I saw Hocevar just outside the top 10. Actually, Hocevar's in 9th. Hocevar's in 9th, so that works. Chris Buescher is 29th. And Chase Elliott after the spin is now 28th. So it's Problem for my Final Four guys. The good news is Chase Elliott, I think, is matched up against Noah Gragson. And Gregson's actually still behind Elliott in the running order, 2 spots. So the door is opened up for Gregson, but Elliott's still ahead. And then Chris Buescher is matched up against John Hunter Nemechek this week. And the 42 of Nemechek is currently 34. So they're both still ahead. They're both still ahead. Maybe a little bit of sweating going on, but things are not off the rails yet. Brandon Remy, thanks for tuning in. My favorite driver is Ryan Blaney. I wear his Get Up every Sunday. Got the sweatshirt and championship hat from a couple years ago on. Big Side, thanks for tuning in. Watching from New Zealand. A lot of New Zealanders, a lot of Australians rooting for Shane Van Gisbergen here this weekend and every weekend throughout the NASCAR schedule. But this week, leading and in the final stage at Sonoma, a track he had won last season of the road courses in the NASCAR schedule. 38 laps led today for SVG, 31 for Ty Gibbs. Those are the only 2 drivers to lead any laps in today's race. Just 3 lead changes and all kind of flip-flopping a pit strategy. Nobody has actually passed the leader outright today between the 2 of those guys leading laps. We'll go through the full field running order with 40 laps to go now. Shane Van Gisbergen leads. Chase Briscoe in second. Connor Zilic third. Ryan Blaney fourth. Fifth is Kyle Larson. Michael McDowell in 6th, William Byron 7th, Ryan Preece 8th, Ty Gibbs 9th, and Carson Hocevar in 10th. Alex Bowman 11th, Ty Dillon 12th, Brad Keselowski 13th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 14th, 15th is Christopher Bell, Austin Cindric 16th, Ross Chastain 17th, Cole Custer 18th, Joey Logano 19th, and Riley Herbst 20th. 21st is AJ Allmendinger, Eric Jones 22nd, Josh Berry 23rd, Daniel Suarez 24th, and Zane Smith 25th. 26th is now Daniel Suarez as Austin Hill moves up a spot to 25th. 27th is Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott 28th, Chris Buescher 29th, Noah Gragson 30th, Austin Dillon 31st, Todd Gillen 32nd, John Hunter Nemechek 33rd, Denny Hamlin 34th, Cody Ware 35th, and 4 laps down, Tyler Reddick with power steering issues in 36th, rounding out the running order. One caution for incident today. It was early in stage 3, second green flag lap of the stage. And other than that, the stage yellows of lap 25 and lap 55 have been the only other cautions. We're 1 hour, 47 minutes into this race here today and down to just 39 laps to go out of 110 at Sonoma. I mentioned already the 3 lead changes, 8 caution laps total out of the 71 complete, working lap 72. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC. Our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race is ongoing.
Percentages of who has the best shot to win this race. Look at the leader, Shane Van Gisbergen, in there, showing right around 80%. Drop. Oh, continues to drop. Somebody's running some good laps, I guess. Yeah, we see this battle for seconds cooled off a little bit as the 18 kind of cooked everything on that car and lost a little bit of braking performance. So he settles back here. It should return to the car once you get a little gap and get them brakes kind of cooled off. We saw how good the long run speed was for Zilic in the last stage. Well, when you're this close and you've been restarting on the front row with your teammate and you know the battles that they've had on Saturdays and the success that Zilic has enjoyed there, you can't help but want to go out and win. But I would also say when you think big picture and the kind of season that he has had to be where they are, just want to make sure now that you finish off the deal, even if you can't get by SVG and win. And now we drift back and we talk about drivers with a lot on the line. Byron in a points battle trying to get to the top 10. Preece trying to stay in a chase position, have another good day on the road in the 64 RFK.
I'm extremely impressed by Preece. Finished 5th in stage 1. Battling hard here. looked like that 24 car using up the rear tires a little bit over turn 3 there into 4. Priest ready to strike in the braking zone.
It's outside the chase, entering last week's race, got a stage win. And points as they run plus 15 as he goes around Byron. And look who's right behind him. Talk about the long run. Gibbs getting the stage points, winning those stages today. And boy, he's right back in the hunt in the top 10 tonight.
Yeah, you look at what Priest did last week. He scored more points than anyone. At 45 points in San Diego with those first, second, and stages, as you mentioned. The 54 of Ty Gibbs trying to kind of replicate that as he closes in on this duo. This 54 car, we have a lot of racing left. 38 laps to go in a pit stop. I think this 54 car is going to be a player before this is over.
So fast comparable to the speed of everyone else. I don't know how to handicap him against SVG because the 54 is in traffic, making a lot of passes that are taking some lap time away. But
The hand's all over me. I don't know how he's going faster.
that's what 24 of Byron. And I agree. I mean, that's what you feel as a driver behind the wheel when everybody in the mirror keeps getting closer and closer. You feel like you're under pressure, losing positions to cars on the same tires as you. You had a great car in practice, a great car in stage 1, and now you're struggling as the track continues to change.
17 laps on most of these leaders' tires, 17 green flag laps, 37 to go in the race. I think we're going to run maybe 10 or 12 more laps before we start to see a wave of pit stops. SVG, the guy all the way out front by nearly 2 seconds, he'll be the most patient. I think he thinks there's no reason for me to do anything crazy and get myself behind on tires. So he won't want to be the last to pit road, but I don't feel that there's any urgency to be the first to pit road either.
Have to give a shout out to Bowman as well. Alex running in 10th, done a really solid job. And this is the kind of race we see from the 48 team. We watch SVG up the hill. Marty, what you got on SVG?
So let's talk a little pit strategy with the 97 one. So thinking about 10 laps or so for SVG, let's also go back to the last restart for Shane Van Gilbergen and his teammate Connor Zillich. That was not team order to bad restart by Zillich. The junior cannot bar your first Suarez, so say. Given SVG times of everybody else behind him, he said, keep that information coming. I will off of that. What does that mean when SVG says, I'll drive off of the lap times everybody else is turning?
He's just controlling the gap. That's all he's doing. He knows that he needs to save as much rear tire and drive and comfort in this car as possible. So he's only going to run fast enough to stay in the lead and be comfortable in the lead. Now, when they need to come to pit road, maybe they tell him a few laps ahead of time, Steve, okay, drop the hammer. Give me 4 or 5 hard laps. Let's get this gap, lengthen this gap here. Before you come to pit road, you got X amount of tire laps to use up whatever you've saved on the tire.
It's a video game for SVG. He has his lap time on his dash, so he's just probably running that target lap time, kind of like bracket racing. Danielle, Chase Briscoe under 19, though, is very impressive.
Well, his crew chief, James Small, agrees with you, Steve. He said, good pace here. You are matching the times of SVG. Really good work, mate. I like your style.
I can't remember. Mate, that was Danielle. Danielle, that was really nice.
75. True radio translation right there.
That was an exact quote from James Small. Can you imagine if James Small and SVG worked together? What sort of radio transcription we would get? It would be unbelievable. I'd have to call Lee Dippy to translate.
It would be quite enjoyable.
My Australian accent is not good. I wasn't gonna go.
I like you, Danielle. So now, you ask yourself, look, SVG's obviously the dominant car. He's led 44 laps today. I will tell you, I want Ty Gibbs to get closer, right? He led 31. I think he's one of the best cars moving through traffic. But you still have to execute. Coming down pit road, there's a lot of ways to lose a race. I'm at home that can tell you how to get one of these things away. And if you're one of these other drivers, I think you have to remind yourself what happened last week, Dale, right? I think a lot of drivers went to San Diego thinking about running second. They didn't even think about winning the race. Everyone was ready to just give Shane the trophy. He didn't really do anything wrong to get caught up in a wreck. And just like that, you could hear the fresh air go across the garage area. If I'm a crew chief on pit road, I'm reminding my driver, we still have a chance. There are 34 laps to go in this race.
Well, in talking to Tyler Allen, Ty Gibbs crew chief in the garage this morning, they believe that he's the one. I mean, we've talked so much. Shannon's done the reports. I mentioned his early success in his O'Reilly days. And he has delivered at the Cup level as well, having a good afternoon. Just a lost track position here. And as you said, it would be interesting to see him up there in the game.
I'm going to circle that right there. 1:16.8 out of Gibbs back in 8th versus a 1:17.0 for the leader. So a faster car back in traffic working on passes. He pulls out a line from Priest. Ty Gibbs isn't ready to just hand the trophy over yet.
Up to 7th for driver 50 miles. 34 laps to go in Sonoma. Top 5, Shane Van Gisbergen, Chase Briscoe, Connor Zillich, Ryan Blaney, and Kyle Larson.
33 laps to go. Green flag pit stop should be coming up here in about another 5 to 10 laps, which would be the final pit stops of the race today. Shane Van Gisbergen out ahead by 1.8 seconds over Chase Briscoe. Connor Zillich still sitting in P3 at 2.6 seconds out of the lead. 3.5 second deficit to Ryan Blaney in 4th. 4.9 seconds to Kyle Larson in 5th. And Michael McDowell in the 6th place spot, 5.8 seconds out of the lead. Ryan Priest in 7.1 back. Ty Gibbs, 7.3 seconds back in 8th. William Byron in 9th, 8.9 seconds back. And Alex Bowman rounding out the top 10. He's 10.1 seconds off the race lead as well. Ty Gibbs just picked up another spot that last lap, moving from 8th place now up to 7th after winning the first 2 stages of the race. Don't count Gibbs out. We get a couple more cautions as he moves forward. He's had a lot of pace this weekend. Obviously qualified on the pole for a reason. And now running fast laps. He's already had a solid points day. Very rare on road courses where you can see a guy go for the stage points and still be fast enough to try to fight through traffic and go for the race win. Kyle Larson was able to do that back in 2021. SVG actually won the 2nd stage of the Sonoma race last season and still went on to win the race as well, but chose not to do that strategy this year. Going to try to kind of play things a little bit safer. And this is going to be an interesting one. Don't have access to TV. Pretty cool. I'm in. Hey, there you go. Appreciate it, Ross, for you tuning in and everybody else watching this weekend. But yeah, we're live here every weekend. NASCAR Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series action. Cup practice and qualifying every Saturday I'm also live for. And next weekend, Chicagoland Speedway back on the NASCAR schedule. First time since 2019 that we will see Chicagoland in NASCAR. It's actually at the last race there in 2019. So the Cup Series race will be Sunday evening. We'll be live at about 5:30 p.m. Eastern for that one. And then practice and qualifying again on Saturday we'll be live for. Truck Series will be off next week, so it's just O'Reilly and Cup. And, of course, the O'Reilly race will be after practice and qualifying for Cup on Saturday. So Saturday evening and Sunday evening will be kind of the start times for the races next weekend. Both races should start the daylight hours, finish right around dark.
We do our Xfinity fastest lap. Reddick had popped there. John Hunter Nemechek, his circle's in front of him, a 1:16.40. Toyota Racing onboard camera with Reddick, who's 4 laps down and had lost the championship lead until Hamlin had that contact turn 7, went for a ride. Marty reporting during commercial the splitter damage there has got him frustrated, and they're not making up any ground. Hamlin is 34th and now 6 points behind when you look at points as they run. Let's go down to Danielle.
Yeah, I just spoke with Tyler Reddick's team, and they said that Billy Scott told the spotter, don't even give Tyler lap times. Just let him go out there and run. As you mentioned, 4 laps down, just trying to salvage the day after a power steering issue earlier in the race. He is holding on to the points lead as they run 5 points ahead of Denny Hamlin, Marty.
Danielle, 31 to go here at Sonoma. Chase Elliott hitting for what should be the final time for the Hendrick Motorsports car. After that spin, Alan Gustafson, Steve told Chase, we're going to flip our strategy here. But on the early side of the window, I expect the leaders to be about 5 or 6 more laps before they come to pit road.
Okay, so what is Alan hoping for here? In a perfect world, caution right now. A caution anytime before the leaders come to pit road, because the 9 can then stay on the racetrack and cycle all the way back. To talk about flipping the stages. Well, this is old school trying to flip a caution. Alan trying to be one of the first cars at pit road. He know older tires may hurt him later in the race, but that spin cost him track position, and much as expected,
The 9 has now brought a few other cars to pit road. The 48 of Bowman included, Danielle.
Another 4-tire change here for Alex Bowman and the 48. Came in 15th, trying to have a decent day here. Talked to Alex earlier. Looks like little contact there coming out possibly, guys.
Scheduled green flag pit stops here. Could be the final stops of the day. Certainly can get home from here. A caution late could change things. Let's go down to Marty. I tell you, Adam, it was a pretty decent day for Joey Logano pace-wise. It was top 14 until that spin a moment ago. So Paul Wolf opting for the same thing Alan Gusler did just a moment ago to pit here on the early side of the window for what should be the final stops at Sonoma.
Much like you said, Dale, SVG's last 2 laps out of the 97, the fastest we have seen. I think he has been given the go-ahead to try to stretch those legs a little bit before we come to pit road.
Saw late in stage 2. It's like you snap the fingers, and there he goes.
Yeah, the last lap. The last couple laps have been awesome. The interesting thing will be if the 19 or the 88 try to come a lap before the 97 and get in front of them.
Ryan Preece is in. Here he comes, Shannon.
Yeah, guys, Ryan Preece coming down pit road right now. He knew that the in-season challenge would be a matchup because of Shane Van Gisbergen, and he really has had some fun with it this week, just on social media and between the two of them. But you see him going to work right now on that car. AJ Allmendinger also on pit road right now. We talked about the struggles that he's had all race long, and not only with the handling of the car, but there was some miscommunication before stage 2. The team forgot to tell him when he was coming to the choose zone, so he found himself all the way back in 20th. 4 tires and fuel for AJ. Needs to free that car up a little bit and drop some air pressure.
And when we talk about the in-season challenge for the first-round matchups, I was excited about A.J. Allmendinger and Chase Briscoe. The Dinger pits, Briscoe coming now, and he's bringing third-place Connor Silich with him.
Be interesting to see who can beat who off pit road here. This is a valuable piece of real estate to be in second place.
Danielle.
Chase Briscoe in for service here. James Small likes his pace. Overall, says for balance, good. Pits out here. It'll be 4 tires down and away.
Career days of Connor Silich so far. Can he bring it home? Maybe with a win. Oh, a slow stop there for the 88. That's going to cost him just a little bit. Since he was too tight in the right-hander. So we'll see how much track position you want it to happen under green, not under caution, don't you, Steve, for the 88. And Michael McDowell, much better on the longer run for that 71, taking the third receiver 28 to go as well.
Looked like some stalling to me. Looks like the stop was pretty good. They dropped the jack, the car lurched forward and stalled. Took a while to fire up. That's going to give control of the fresh tire race to the 19. On board with the 97. He's coming to pit road as well. So we right on board with the 97. He's going to run through turn 10 right here, the right-hander. Let's talk about this entry. You commit right at the box, but you have to hustle. Right? This is a cattle street right here. Hustle around all the way to the yellow line. So he's going to try to go all the way around, get as much as he can, as much as he can, as much as he can. Pit road starts here. Now pit stop on the upper screen. The leader of cars who has pitted, the 19 of Briscoe on the bottom screen. We'll see where the 97 blends with the 19. This could be the race for the lead when everybody makes their stops. Marty, the 97 of SVG in front of you.
Yes, Steve, once he started to stretch his legs, as you mentioned here a moment ago, he built that lead up to 7 seconds for Shane Van Gisbergen as he comes to pit road here. He's done his job. Now it's up to the front and the rears. The last set of tires were the worst of the day. Hopefully they get a better one on here. We'll see where he cycles out now.
Is that the yellow line?
Exiting the pit lane. And here comes Briscoe. Across the start-finish line, the blend up the hill.
Oh, the 97 has it by 20, 25 car lengths. Those are those good laps he ran. He had nearly a 2 1/4 second lead before the pit stop. It was about 1 second the whole run. He stretched it to 2 1/4, and for that reason, he gave himself that little bit of cushion to let the 19 come a lap earlier. Really good job on both the 97 and the 19. Now, what about the drivers on the racetrack, like the 5 of Larson and 12 of Blaney? They can either A, come right now and stay on strategy with the leader, or B, run very long, which it looks like they are doing. So they feel like if we run maybe 9 or 10 more laps and the caution comes out, even though they'll lose track position, other cars will pit with them and the fresh tires give them an advantage.
Yeah, that tire late in the game can be such a difference maker. And, you know, we talk about that, and I go to last year when we had those cautions and some drivers came down, made something of it, even though they had to give up the track position. So
I don't know if that's going to happen this year. I just don't see the tire fall off necessary to have that strategy work.
Stalled it. They did quickly, they can drive away. Not always that lucky. Sometimes these things get like an electronic cycle in the ECU and you sit there helpless.
Zillage has scored in the 15th position, but he is third in line of those drivers that have made a pit stop. Now we go to Ty Gibbs. He still needs to come to pit road, but the climb continues. He's now second behind race leader Kyle Larson.
Big moment for the 12 right there, and it lets the 5 get around, and now the 12 of Blaney has lost the spot to the 54 as well. They continue to stay on the racetrack. I like this mostly for Gibbs because of the speed they have in the car. If they stay out on the racetrack, come to pit road, caution comes out, they get a tire advantage once we gather the field back up. He's got maybe arguably the best car here. Danielle.
Christopher Bell coming in for his scheduled stop here, guys. 4 tires. Bell seems very happy with the race car. Pretty quiet on the radio. Adam Stevens happy as well.
Start to see these drivers inside the top 10 give up position, come down, get their scheduled green flag stop.
What a drive by Bell with that injured left wrist. Let's go back to Gibbs. The other thing I love about the strategy with Gibbs, to your point, Dale, it's Larson and Blaney that he's running in those chase standings. So they're right on the racetrack around him. So I think that helps the 54 think confidence in what they're doing. The 11 of Hamlin on pit road, Marty.
Yeah, Denny was very vocal on the radio after that spin on the track, said they have some splitter damage. Car had just really not been the same for Denny Hamlin since that moment, but they had incredible speed up to that point. Hamlin pitting for the finals over here with 25 to go. See where he rejoins. Going to be outside the top 25. Ty Dillon, the man he's facing in the opening round of the in-season challenge, scored 24th right now. As Larson comes in, Ty Gibbs does the same. Scheduled green flag pit stops, 25 laps to go, Danielle.
And you see Cliff Daniels part of the pit stops here, too. The crew chief comes down.
Ty Gibbs going to get his stop. In front of you, Shannon.
Yeah, take a look at that 54. No mistakes was the word over the radio as Ty Gibbs pulls that 54 into the pit box. Just a little bit tight, guys, but he said leave it alone because he was back in that traffic. We've also got Ryan Blaney, who's down here on pit road. Mr. Chief told me that the key was to get out of the regular season third in points. You talked about him racing around the guys, that he is racing for that. They want to average 30 points per race, and he has been running in the top 3 pretty much all day.
We all stood up as that cycle of stops happened just to watch Shane Van Gisbergen flash by. And as those drivers were exiting, SVG able to cruise through. He's now third on the board with Byron and Chastain still needing to make their stop. Barry also going to have to make a pit stop. He's inside the top 5. Austin Hill yet to make his stop. Here comes Byron now.
Byron will give the lead back to Chastain unless he chooses to chase the 24 on pit road. That'll cycle the 97 up to second. You see the map in the upper left as we see the 24 coming down pit road, the 97 heading into turn 11.
William Byron heading your way, Shannon.
He's a guy who definitely knows how to get it done on the road course, just having wins under his belt in the Cup Series. Guys, he has been pretty good in this race. He just said if the car was not turning a little bit too tight, but he said once it got going, it was very good. The 24th down as well.
Car still yet to come to pit road. SVG's clearly in front over Briscoe. Chastain still with the lead. You see Van Gisbergen off in the distance there.
Trackhouse has been 1-2 on several occasions today. Multiple different combinations up there. And Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zillage. And now it's Chastain in front of SVG. As Dale said, the one going to have to make a pit stop. And as you look at our pylon, there he goes now. Anybody that's pitted in the 80s, good to go. Anybody in the 50s or 60s, still going to make one more pit stop.
And I will tell you, the 19 of Briscoe has outrun SVG by almost a half a second the last 2 laps. There's SVG right there, and you're going to see the 19 only 25, 30 car lengths behind.
But the question is, SVG continuing to control that gap?
Let's cover the Chastain pit stop, Shannon.
Yeah, Ross Chastain, he put together a really solid finish last week at San Diego on Heather. But the handling is just a little bit off on his number 1 car. But he has had a pretty solid day so far in number 1.
Last week, back-to-back top 10s for the driver from Florida. First time he'd been in the top 10 since Talladega. He pulls back out as his teammate reclaims the top spot. Shane Van Gisbergen with field in tow, and he's got a 1.6-second advantage over Chase Briscoe. Zillage, Larson, Gibbs, the top 5 in Sonoma with 22 laps remaining on TNT.
And just a couple more corners away from 21 laps to go. And as the field has cycled through green flag pit stops, minus a couple of drivers up in the top 10 outside of the leaders, Shane Van Gisbergen is out in front again. He's got a 1.2-second lead over Chase Briscoe in second. Connor Zillage is in third place. Josh Berry has yet to pit, but he is in fourth. Kyle Larson fifth. Austin Hill still has to hit pit road one last time. He is in sixth as well. Ty Gibbs in seventh, Chris Buescher eighth, Ross Chastain on pit road at the moment in ninth, and Michael McDowell rounds out the top 10. Ryan Preece in 11th, Christopher Bell 12th, Alex Bowman 13th, Ryan Blaney 14th, 15th is Daniel Suarez, with William Byron 16th, Carson Hocevar 17th, Austin Cindric 18th, Brad Keselowski 19th, and AJ Allmendinger in 20th. 21st, Cole Custer, Joey Logano 22nd, Chase Elliott 23rd, Zane Smith 24th, and 25th is Eric Jones. Todd Gillen 26th, Chris Buescher 27th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 28th, Noah Gragson 29th, and John Hunter Nemechek in 30th. Bubba Wallace 31st, Riley Herbst 32nd, Denny Hamlin 33rd, Austin Dillon 34th, 35th is Cody Ware, 36th place Tyler Reddick 4 laps down with the power steering issues from earlier. And he's the only car off of the lead lap still. 8 lead changes, most of which during green flag pit stops in this final stage. 3 cautions, only 1 for incident in stage 3. 2 hours, 12 minutes into the race so far. 20 laps to go this time by. 8 laps of caution for the 3 yellows in total. Lap 25 and 55 stage breaks. And then the yellow at lap number 61. The car of the 36 that started still at least on track. Ty Gibbs up to the 5th place position, looking to score a ton of points here today after winning the first 2 stages of the race. And he is back up to 5th place, about 2 seconds behind Larson for 4th. But that last lap, Larson a little bit quicker than Gibbs, but I believe Gibbs made a pass on Michael McDowell. I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm probably wrong. It might have been somebody else in traffic because he was a couple tenths off of Larson's time, about 4 tenths off. Don't think that has been the case time and time to go past the start finish. Tennessee Smoky 9012, thanks for tuning in. All right. So 20 laps to go. We'll take a quick break here. Again, you're listening live. KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race continues.
Leaving his first career top 10 finish in the Cup Series, and he can hold on today. Well, how about pole sitter, the 23-year-old Ty Gibbs got that first career win back at Bristol in the spring. He won both stages. I just thought that would eliminate him from contention, but here he is 5th, climbing up the ranks. doing a really nice job behind the wheel of the 54. 19 laps to go. I think there's a few positions still in front. Bell.
I want to go with his teammate, the guy that was a runner-up here a year ago, and that's Chase Briscoe. Just been outstanding today, running second in this race. And if he's able to hang there, it would match his best finish of the year from Atlanta. But he's thinking more. You know, I go to last year with Briscoe, and we had some of those late cautions, and he really pushed Shane Van Gisbergen. And so you feel like Briscoe's a guy that's got something for him here today late. Really having a good afternoon in that 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing.
And he's kept this gap here to SVG and a flat second for a while now. SVG just knows a lot of laps left. 19 laps at this racetrack, that might as well be 100 laps somewhere else. It's a long way to go. You're trying to stretch out the tire life in this car, and this will be the longest that they've went all day long. Got a great little battle happening for third, fourth, but we're going to jump on board the 17 of Chris Buescher right here. Trying to work behind the 4 of Noah Gregson.
Little Trimble on board. Coming down toward turn 10. And the drive over to turn 11.
This is struggle today. Actually, we're in the third best lap for the racetrack last night. Actually, 29th. And this is the battle right now. I think the best one on the racetrack between Larson and Zillage. And Larson is taking it. Well, Zillage would be able to drive away from this 5 car because he held that track position during the pit cycle, but maybe a little bit of a tire advantage on the 5. It's only a lap, but let's take a look and see how this pass happens. Yeah, the braking zone of turn 11. Larson down in there, stays off the door of the 88. Good clean pass. Pretty far back. Didn't make that move. I was really impressed. It didn't end up in the door of the 88 car. Might have caught the 88 by surprise. My goodness. He struggled a little bit in the braking zone, I guess. The balance of the car just doesn't look quite as good as the one in front of Zillage. It's a moment, though, in this young man's career where he's got to kind of understand the big picture and finish the race. But, you know, not make a mistake here and spin yourself out or do anything to take yourself out of a decent day. You could be doing things like the veteran SVG, just trying to save the rear tires on that car for this long duration of run.
You're one to watch. Ty Gibbs played the long game in the stages and really did a nice job collecting points. But Bell was on that same game plan, Steve, and here they are up to 6. Just said, I know we've said it, an impressive drive for this group.
I would say take the race winner out. That's the ultimate goal. Other than the race winner, this has been the best day for the 54 and the 20 if you do check the flag right now. Because points scored, it's not even going to be close. I mean, they had so many points in the stages. When you talk about this, you know, new points format, back to the chase format, where we are stacked points each and every week, it's not just about top 5s and top 10s, it's what you did in the stages, and they were A+. Absolutely. I think the 20 car has an opportunity, if they put this all together, to move themselves into the top 7 in points. If everything goes well, presenting themselves in the chase with an opportunity to race for a championship. Right now, currently, is where they run 10th in points.
How about a little in-season challenge fun with 16 to go? Matched up into bracket, couple of drivers from Team Ford, Austin Cindric, Brad Kinslowski, 13th and 14th on track.
Well, damage to the left front of the car right there from some contact with Josh Berry earlier in the day, but probably keeping that left front tire at Goodyear really nice and cool. Probably doesn't handle well on the short run, but on the long run, probably helping out. Brad's done an awesome job today, coming from the back of the field. Everybody thinks that Brad's lost his touch or his fastball on the road courses, but veteran knows how to put a good day together.
And we keep talking about Bell as we should with the broken wrist, but let's just remind the fan, might have to be turning in a little later in the season, that Brad Keselowski broke his femur in this winter. Came back just a few weeks later to start the Daytona 500. He couldn't run the Clash at Bowman Dre, right? This is a driver that's coming off a major injury as well. And when you talk about leg strength,
And the requirements, the road courses on the
15 laps to go at Sonoma. 2.5 advantage for Shane Van Gisbergen over Chase Briscoe, still in P2. 6.1 seconds to Kyle Larson in third. 7.1 seconds for Connor Zilic in fourth. And Ty Gibbs 7.7 seconds back, rounding out the top 5 in fifth. But he is fastly approaching the 88 of Zilic, at least, for a potential fourth place run. And we'll see if Connor can hold on to a top 5 to at least get that first one of his Cup career. I would like to think he should be able to hold on to a top 10 at the very least, even though he's starting to fade right now. Zilch still has about 8 seconds back to the 10th place car, Alex Bowman. So he's got that working for him at the moment. And with just 15 laps to go, not a lot of time left in this race. We'll go back into the in-season tournament challenge and kind of update you of matchup by matchup and where those drivers are running right now. So Tyler Reddick had the issues early in the race at the end of stage 1. Power steering went out, tried to get that fixed. That put them 4 laps down for where they're at right now. Actually, they were 6 laps down, but they got the free pass at the end of stage 2, and then that quick early caution in stage 3. Got the 4 laps down. Alex Bowman has outran him clearly because of that. And Bowman, as mentioned moments ago, in the 10th place position as we run. So that's the first matchup, looking like Alex Bowman's going to move on through. Then you got Austin Cindric versus Brad Keselowski in the other matchup. Keselowski having a pretty solid run for a road course. Only 1 position behind Cindric. That's going to come down to the final few laps here. Cindric in 13th, Keselowski in 14th. So very, very tight battle in the 16-17 matchup. Then you got Daniel Suarez and Todd Gilliland going head-to-head against one another. Gilliland had a spin a little bit earlier in the race. That was at the start of stage 3. He is sitting 24th as a result. Daniel Suarez in the 7 car is actually not outrunning him. Suarez back in 35th. He had a tire potentially going flat earlier, had to make an unscheduled pit stop, fell behind. So even with the spin by Gilliland, he is still outrunning Daniel Suarez late in the race. Looking to hold on as the 25 seed. Carson Hocevar versus Zane Smith. Zane Smith has not had as good of a run as what he's had in recent weeks. Setting up, he is in 20th, and Carson Hocevar is holding on to a decent day in 12th. So Hocevar outrunning him to this point. Now looking the bottom left quadrant, we got Chase Briscoe versus AJ Allmendinger. Briscoe consistently top 3 to top 5 all day today, still running up there in the 2nd place position. Allmendinger's had a decent day, but not quite as good as we would have thought that he could have potentially had. He's actually faltered back to 15th and didn't really go for stage points. He's been having some major handling issues since the start of the race. Bubba Wallace versus Michael McDowell, another matchup down in that quadrant. Michael McDowell, pretty decent run early on in the race. Fell in the middle, back up in the top 10 late. He is in 7th. Bubba Wallace had a couple of off-track incidents where his car went off-track, I should say. He is back in 27th. He also started deep in the field as well. Ty Gibbs is facing Austin Dillon this week. Ty Gibbs, great run. He won both stages. He's up in 5th late. Austin Dillon, not such a great run. He had a speeding penalty on pit road and ultimately just hasn't been all that quick here today. He is back in 33rd. Another matchup to look forward to. We are in the right bottom quadrant. Josh Berry versus Ryan Blaney. Blaney's been top 5 to top 10 all day. I believe he's running in 9th right now. Berry got involved in an incident already. Shane Van Gisbergen versus Ryan Preece. Preece has been up near the top 10 most of the day, but SVG dominating and looking like he can go on and get his 2nd win of the season. SVG basically kicking his tail as well as everybody else's here today. Kyle Larson versus Riley Herbst. Larson, another driver who's been top 5 to top 10 most of the day. Herbst mired back in 30th at the moment. William Byron versus Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stenhouse, not a great road course racer today. Not too great either. 24th place for him. Byron sitting in 11th, looking to do enough to advance. Christopher Bell versus Ross Chastain. I took Chastain in that matchup, and that's because coming into the day, Christopher Bell, of course, with that broken wrist, wasn't sure if he was going to be able to perform well enough. Here he is in 6th place late. While Ross Chastain qualified in the top 5, wasn't able to stay there for long. He fell out of the top 10 pretty quickly. He is now back in 16th. So Bell looking to win that matchup in the tournament. Then you got Chris Buescher versus John Hunter Nemechek. I mentioned Buescher was not having as good of a day. He had 3 top 5s at Sonoma in the last 4 starts here, but today, again, not a great run of things for Chris. Chris Buescher back at 24th. And he is beating Nemechek at least by 3 positions, doing enough to try to advance in the tournament with Nemechek in 27th. Eric Jones, Joey Logano matchup. Logano started up inside the top 10. Jones started deep in the field after a poor qualifying effort yesterday and actually had a slight crash in practice. Jones is 21st, Logano 22nd, so that's a tight battle down the home stretch. They're only about a second apart from one another with about 11 laps to go. So that is that. And the last tournament battle to watch, Denny Hamlin versus Ty Dillon. Hamlin was top 10 to top 5 all day long. He was 6th on this last restart, went for a spin. We haven't had a caution since, so he's been trying to make ground back up through the field. Denny Hamlin, though, in doing so, is still back in the, trying to find him in the running order. Denny Hamlin's still back in 31st after the spin he had earlier, and Ty Dillon's in 30th, just 1 spot ahead of him. So it is going to come down to the waning laps here between Hamlin and Dillon. Dillon in 30th, Hamlin in 31st. We'll see who's going to get it. And my final 4 is looking to hang on right now, which would be Hocevar, Elliott, Buescher, and Blaney. Probably looking like I'm only going to get like 11 or 12 matchups, maybe correct, based off of how things are looking at the moment. 10 laps remaining, 9 to go this time by. Briscoe's starting to run down Shane Van Gisbergen just a little bit late. Not sure if SVG's still in the saving mode process. I'm sure he doesn't want the 19 to get even close enough to get to his bumper because Briscoe has an opportunity to do it. He may move. Not too often you get a chance to try to beat Shane Van Gisbergen head-to-head on a road course. You also wonder if the 97 team could have maybe went the wrong way on an adjustment late, but doesn't seem to be the case right now. Working their way through the S's. Again, 9 laps to go this time by at the line. Chase Briscoe only about 7 to 8 tenths of a second off of the race lead. Briscoe's never won on a road course in the NASCAR Cup Series, but he actually had a couple of runner-ups last season. Both in Mexico City and Sonoma right here. And Shane Van Gisbergen, the defending winner of this race and a winner in Mexico City, trying to fend off Briscoe again.
Second 15-lap average. Gibbs' car's been fast all year long. He's taking advantage. Finally, his opportunity. He's watched his teammates do this all year long, and finally, Briscoe with a shot to win today.
What about Ty Gibbs running fourth, Shannon?
Yeah, Adam, from the very start of this race, the message has been just race your own race. Well, now, as the laps are clicking down, they, of course, are looking at that 97. Here's what Ty Gibbs and his crew just said on the radio.
You know what you're doing. 19 is running the 97 down. He's starting to struggle with the drive, too. What do you want me to do? I took the push. Last 10 laps.
Ty Gibbs has had such a fast car all day long, of course, winning stage 1, stage 2, starting way back in 20th at the beginning of each of those stages, and now he has just a couple of spots to gain in order to try to get up there and get that 97.
That is some of the question mark for these drivers is with 9 laps to go, what am I trying to do? Am I saving tire for the long run? If the caution comes out, are we pinning or are we not? Because, some of the strategy might be, hey, we can't run the 97 down from 7 seconds back, so if we pull our rear tires and the caution comes out, maybe we can stay out on those tires. A lot has changed in the world of road course racing with this reduced downforce, increased power, and this tire that does lose grip. It's not just a set it and forget it type pitch strategy anymore. When you leave pit road for what you think is the last time for fuel, you have to continue to ask yourself, if we have a caution now, should we come to pit road? And with this many cars lead lap, it's a complicated question.
Well, I was going to say, if you're a crew chief, it's a little bit like match play in golf. You have to prepare on your opponent, always making a putt, so you know the pressure could be on at any time.
Last lap on the racetrack, SVG runs a half a second faster than Briscoe in the 19, and you see the gap extended. You can almost watch the 97's line off of turn 4 to understand how hard he's pushing. And these guys right here, Cindric and Keselowski, continue to push each other around.
Talked about the problems for Ty Dillon. He's faded to 34th. Hamlin in front of him now as you continue to watch the pylon and the leaders coming back to 7 laps to
I
go.
was asking SVG why he loves this racetrack so much, and he mentioned a lot of different things. One thing that stood out is his line in turn 4. He's like, I like to run way wider over the curb on the outside in the exit of 4 than a lot of guys do. They just don't, for whatever reason, use as much racetrack, and he carries a ton of momentum there and speed into turn 7. When he runs hard, you see him take that wider exit out of 4. When he's underdriving the car, it's a little more shallow.
What about the 97 right now, Marty? Boy, Adam, for the layup that everybody thought today would be for Shane Van Gisbergen, he has worked this afternoon behind the wheel of that Trackhouse Chevy. He just told Stephen Dorn a moment ago, we are terrible. I'm trying to hang on here with 7 laps to go, but that speed just keeps getting cut by the 19.
That information, if you hear it on the 97, Marty, and you're James Spall, that is like an adrenaline, a shot of adrenaline to the 19. I'm letting him know. I know you see him struggling. We believe it's for real. We're hearing on the radio as well. Coming in 6 laps to go. I've been coached you to say rear tires. Go get them. It's time to push. A little bit of traffic up here in front of me. We haven't had traffic all day long for SVG to have to deal with. And the 10 of Dillon gets out of the way.
Next car they'll see, Suarez, who won here 2022. 6 laps remaining for Van Gisbergen.
A little bit of issue right there for the 19, trying to get around the 10. High-speed section of the racetrack, cost a couple of tenths.
What's the latest on Briscoe, Danielle?
Well, SVG may not be happy with his car, but James Small is very happy with Chase Briscoe, the job he's doing and how the car's running. He said, stay focused, stay locked in, don't let the rabbit get any bigger, manage those inputs. Nice and straight here, you're doing a great job.
There's history on the line as well. Shane Van Gisbergen, 7 career wins, all coming in road course competition. A win today gets him his 8th, and he would tie Tony Stewart for 2nd on the all-time wins list when you talk about cup victories on the road.
The 7 of Suarez is kind of a tough pass here, guys. I think that's going to create some issues, especially in these high-speed corners. If SVG can't make this happen quickly, he's going to start to suffer a little bit of grip loss. That's going to back him up to the 19. And it could go away very quickly. Just a lap.
All right, 5 laps to go. Top 5 in the running order. Shane Van Gisbergen out in front with Chase Briscoe in 2nd. Kyle Larson 3rd. Ty Gibbs up to 4th. Christopher Bell in the 5th spot. Connor Zilich in 6th. Ryan Blaney up to 7th. Michael McDowell 8th. Ryan Priest 9th. And Alex Bowman still rounding out the top 10. Shane Van Gisbergen, Chase Briscoe battling for the win in wine country. Briscoe had cut the lead down to about 0.7 of a second back just a couple laps ago. The lead has been pushed back out to about 1.2 seconds the last time by the start-finish line for SVG as he crossed the stripe. Ty Gibbs has now caught Kyle Larson for 3rd place at 5.5 seconds back. You almost wonder if Ty Gibbs didn't go for the stage points today. Could he have had a shot at the race win? The fact that he went for the stage points, only 1 caution per incident to try to get back into this thing, and he is in a battle for 3rd right now with the defending series champion. What could have been for Ty Gibbs here this afternoon? It's very tough though, because a 3rd place finish when you're guaranteeing 2 stage wins because of how fast you are. It's very difficult to pass up that many points, knowing SVG's on the same racetrack and trying to go for a win as well. Kyle Larson in that 5 car is struggling right now, by the way. Not only Gibbs was able to get a pass on him, but in turns 1 and 2, he was just sliding all over the place. I thought he was going to go off track for a short bit. Not quite the case. And Chase Briscoe got to within 0.5 second of the race leader, Shane Van Gisbergen, at the start-finish line the last time by, but I think he had a slip up in turn 2, which costed him about a second of time because now all of a sudden he's about 1.2 back. Yeah, a little wide out in turn 1. That's the same spot that Kyle Larson kind of went wide as well. and made a very, very big mistake. Little bit less pressure on Shane Van Gisbergen now and some more breathing room. Because before that mishap in turn 1 this lap for Chase Briscoe, he was probably only 5 or 6 car lengths off the leader. He closed quite a bit in the back half of that last lap, but now only has 3 full laps to try to run down the 97 for the win. Briscoe has gained a lot of ground on Van Gisbergen in the last lap since that mishap in turn 1. While that bought Shane Van Gisbergen a little bit more time, you could definitely see that there is a lot of struggle from the 97 car trying to get that rear security, get the rear grip needed off the exit of some of these corners. That is where Briscoe's out running him at the moment. Really, it's all the way around because he just gained a ton into the braking zone in turn 7 as well. Though in driving deeper, he couldn't get back into the gas as soon as SVG. Maybe another over-aggressive mistake by Briscoe. For as worn out as Van Gisbergen's tires are, you'd have to imagine Briscoe's dealing with the same things. There's 2 more lap cars not that far up in front of the race leader that are side by side in the hairpin at the bottom of the hill in turn 11. Dirty air, which has not been something that SVG's had to deal with much, especially since stage 1 today, could be affecting the handling of the race car in some of these tighter back and forth corners like the S's downhill and various other corners around the racetrack as well. 2 laps to go. Cody Ware in the 51, the 7 of Daniel Suarez are the 2 lap cars in front of the leader. Cody Ware is holding up Shane Van Gisbergen through turns 3, A and B, turns 4, A and B. SVG might have to make the pass down in turn 7. No, he'll make the pass in turn 4B, but boy, he got costed a lot of time at the hands of Cody Ware. Into turn 7 in the braking zone, Chase Briscoe will get by Shane Van Gisbergen. Get by Cody Ware, close in on Shane Van Gisbergen in the process. And he's about 3 to 4 car lengths off the lead, downhill through the S's with a lap and a half to go. Van Gisbergen does a very good job through the S's, stretching the lead back out when Briscoe's been catching him every step of the way, minus that section of the racetrack. That's 2 laps in a row that has been the case now. Downhill into turn 11. All Briscoe wants is a shot to get to the back bumper of Van Gisbergen in that said corner on the final lap. They're coming to the white flag this time by 1 lap to go. Chase Briscoe within a half a second of our race leader, Shane Van Gisbergen. Can he best the GOAT on the NASCAR road courses? Van Gisbergen needs these points too, right around that Chase bubble after losing 1 a week ago. This is a dire situation in the standings for Van Gisbergen. Now about a 2 to 3 car length advantage into turn 4B. 2 hairpins to go on this final lap of the race. Van Gisbergen back into the gas as quickly as he could out of 4B. Briscoe not going to be able to get to his bumper in turn 7 this time. Chattering the tires, wrapping his way through the corners, Van Gisbergen. Chase Briscoe within about 2 car lengths now of our leader. Downhill into the S's, looking to close. Briscoe is going to sail it off into turn 11. Can he get to the back bumper of Shane Van Gisbergen, move him out of the way? He closes in turn 10 through the kink. 3 car lengths to close into the final corner. Briscoe as deep as he can into the braking zone. Center of the corner, can't get to the 97 of Van Gisbergen. Acceleration off, Shane Van Gisbergen will hold on and win at Sonoma. Under duress late, not something we usually see with SVG on road courses, but he did not crack and wins yet again. 2nd win of the 2026 season for Van Gisbergen. Career win number 8. All on road courses or street courses for SVG. Chase Briscoe comes home a close second, 0.3 of a second, a margin of victory. Ty Gibbs finishes in 3rd with Kyle Larson 4th and Christopher Bell rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Brian Blaney in 6th, Connor Zillich 7th. First career top 10, by the way, for Zilich. Ryan Preece 8th, Michael McDowell 9th, and Alex Bowman rounds out the top 10. William Byron in 11th, Carson Hocevar 12th, Austin Cindric 13th, Ross Chastain 14th, and Brad Keselowski 15th. 16th for AJ Allmendinger, Chase Elliott 17th, Zane Smith 18th, Chris Buescher 19th, Cole Custer rounds out the top 20. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 21st, Bubba Wallace 22nd, Eric Jones 23rd, Joey Logano 24th, and John Hunter Nemechek 25th. Denny Hamlin 26th, 27th for Austin Dillon, Josh Berry 28th, Todd Gilliland 29th, and Riley Herbst 30th. Noah Gragson 31st, last car on the lead lap, Daniel Suarez in 32nd. One lap down, Cody Ware 33rd. Same for Austin Hill and Ty Dillon 34th, 35th. And 5 laps down for Tyler Reddick in 36th with the power steering issues earlier in the race. That is your finishing results for today's Toyota Save Mart 350, won by a Chevrolet, Shane Van Gisbergen. 8 lead changes, 3 cautions, 8 caution laps, 2 hours, 37 minutes, 51 seconds. Total time on the race, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this was the quickest race of the season so far. 110 laps, and we finish under the regulation length around this 1.99 mile road course. Congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen. When he gets done with his burnout on the front stretch, you're going to hear an interview from him as he'll kick the rugby ball into the stands on the front stretch along the way after signing an autograph. And second win in as many days for this driver. Redemption after last week, having potentially one slip away on the streets of San Diego with a crash in Stage 2. Never got to finish the race. This week he not only finishes but dominates and wins 2 days in a row, sweeping the weekend for both the O'Reilly and Cup Series races at Sonoma. Great job. Yep, a sweep of the weekend.
Shane Van Gisbergen. Second win of the year. Had that incredible run at Watkins Glen. Leads 74 laps here today and cashes in one more time from Team Trackhouse.
He's got the ball. Oh, he's got the ball.
And now he's going to sign the rugby ball. And for the second day in a row, give it a boot. And the wrestling match has begun. Fumble! Here's Shannon Spake.
Yeah, I was wondering if your legs had anything left to kick that ball. Is the victory a little bit sweeter when you were working your butt off inside the race car to get it?
I mean, yeah, what a day. We were really bad yesterday, and these guys did an amazing job turning this car into a winner. And the 19 was coming. He was really, really good, and I ran out at the end. But thank you to Red Bull, Trackhouse, Chevy. Pretty special to make up for last week, too.
Talk about last week. You don't get do-overs in racing, but this is about as close as you get. How much did you bring the fire and even the anger, we saw that, Shane, into the race today?
No, I was back to normal by the weekend, but yeah, certainly pissed at the start of the week, but this well and truly makes up for it. Sharing it with these guys, and they went through it at the start of the week, and pretty special to win.
Those final laps, we heard you on the radio. You were hanging on. Were those some of the toughest laps that you've raced in one of your wins?
We had the shit boxes come out in front and they were wobbling all over the track. Dust and I just kept struggling, and Chase was just really, really good. So yeah, a couple more laps, we would have had some problems.
I know it's about the here and now and celebrating this victory, but the big picture is making the change. You're 14th in the points, 36 above that line. Is this enough momentum to get you to the postseason?
I mean, it certainly helps, but I need to really step it up on the ovals, and we all do. So, but yeah, it certainly helps us. But this is an oval championship, and I need to keep getting better at it.
Happy with that range on the kick?
I almost made it. I'll try again next year.
Congratulations, Shane Van Gisbergen, king of the road course, takes his crown once again.
He knows his place.
Awesome. Congratulations again for sweeping the weekend. Shane Van Gisbergen at Sonoma Raceway. We're going to be live next weekend on the channel, Saturday and Sunday. Chicagoland back on the NASCAR schedule. Post the community tab streaming schedule later in the week for that one. Hope to see you for that and much more throughout the rest of the season. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button if you haven't done so yet for the stream. Helps the channel out a ton. Help push this across other related NASCAR content on the platform. I'll see you guys next Saturday for our next live commentary stream. Have a good rest of your weekend. Have a good rest of your week, and see you next time, everyone.